ಹಲೋ, ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಹಲೋ, ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಹಾಂ, ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಹಾಂ, ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು ಬೇರೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು.
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದೇನು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ.
ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಟೀಮ್ ಅದೇ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಪವರ್ಗೆ
ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು, OBS ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Hello. Hello. ಈಗ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ. ಈಗಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್? Hello. 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 Hello.
Yes, sir. On that screen. This is extension. If you move it to right, it will go there. Near by. Huh? Maybe it is going somewhere else.
In Europe, it is there. I'm asking about this one.
Not really. Where is the WhatsApp, sir? Where is it going?
Where it is going,
Let me send you again, sir, just in case. Hello, hello, hello. I sent you again, just in case. Hello. So, any question, queries from yesterday? Thoughts? It's all being easily incorporated to our understanding, right? So first, we want to discuss on fertility or neuropathy. What is the most relevant topic? Fertility. So anyway, just before we formally start, we can chit chat. So, what do we think? What is the reason of increasing the rates of infertility? What do we see in our practice, which is ah, PCOD, ah, endometriosis, old age pregnancies, late marriages. Correct? Yeah, okay, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Ah. So, primary thing in the fertility, especially in women, is PCOS or PCOD. So, what do we think? What is causing PCOS? Resistance of insulin. Same story. Just a new story, but the same answer is there. Almost, I think it's 75% of the women with infertility, PCOS is there. Uh, See, we have to understand one thing: body will only become fertile when it is out of the survival mode. The body is fighting inflammation, fighting low energy state, uh, fighting inflammation. Body is smart enough not to have a child which is sick. It is just deferring the process. Body is too smart to have unhealthy child at the end. But then if it's look at the infertility clinics, a lot of the children that we work with autism, many of them have gone through IVF cycles. So we are imposing fertility on their body. We make it happen, but then child is suffering. A major compromise on the health of the child. So this is also something we have to educate females. Exactly, exactly. We think advancement, but actually we're going backwards. Too much smartness is killing us. Ah, correct, 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 correct. Now, egg quality maybe because 30, but the body is deteriorating. But if say somebody wants to do at a later age, we have to prep the body pretty well. Now we had a friend. She's 47 now. They had these frozen eggs. For 9 months, we prepped the body, all nutrition and all that. And first shot, she got pregnant and she got twins, healthy twins. Even the doctors are perplexed. Usually it fails and again they do it again, fails it again, do it. So even if we prep the body, the chances are much higher that body will sustain. So we start.
Sir is coming. Chat is coming.
Achha? Oh. Open the files. Okay. PDF, this one, PPT.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡು
I'll do it.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿ
Absorption, yes, in the gut. A lot of people react to metformin in the gut. If they are having symptoms, then we have to discontinue. Okay, we have the slide. Shall we start? So, sir? Conversion. No problem. So, shall we turn these lights off so that okay, ठीक है, that's good. So, well, I think again, fundamental of any human system, diabetes, thyroid, or fertility, any problem is multifactorial. There's no one issue behind it. At the end of the day, it's all lies down to the metabolic activity, the mitochondrial health. So fertility also, from a systems biology perspective, it is a metabolic health problem, environmental exposures, which is eventually leading to hormonal regulation in the body. And there is also gut immune interactions. So a lot of females with autoimmune problems, they don't sustain the pregnancy. They get pregnant, then this will happen. Okay, abortion will happen just automatically. So if their immune system is unwell, then this process continues. Somehow we fix the baby there, it doesn't sustain there. So immune system also plays a great role. Autoimmunity can build up. Already existing autoimmunity can make the things more tougher. Okay. So again, when it comes to actionables, the same fundamental principles we have to look at to improve the fertility rate. But this will give you a perspective how it is impacting. Hari sir? So traditionally, or still now, if from a gynec perspective, we look at ovarian reserves, we look at only tubal patency, we look at uterine thingy, but anatomy is important, but may not be a cause in majority of the people. It is also smaller people where anatomically there are problems. The tube is bad, the uterine health is bad, things like that. But still, lot of the fertility clinics does not look at the metabolic side of it. Okay, is the body ready to sustain fertility? Okay, now we are getting older and then trying fertility. Our lifespan is 85. After 40, we are in a second realm of life, which is youth is gone. Now we are getting old. Okay, so if we are getting a pregnancy, that means we are already lost the metabolic effectiveness, and this is also becoming tough. So we need to ensure the hormones are regulated. This is precise signaling happening from hypothalamus to the pituitary and to the gonads. Then enough energy has to be there in the body for all the signaling have to happen. For energy production, we certainly need the mitochondrial health. Okay, and it's also important that immune tolerance. Okay, uterine immune regulation is essential for embryo acceptance and implantation success. If immune is reacting, a person with Hashimoto's, person with thyroid, a person with psoriasis, they will have a very higher chance of abortions. So if a person comes to us before they want to try for pregnancy, we want to make sure that their autoimmune markers are calmed down. Interestingly, a lot of females who are not getting pregnant or not sustaining their pregnancy, your uterus has a lot of lead content in the uterus tissue. See, if any toxin is coming to our body don't want it to be in the blood. Blood is also the best chemistry at that given point of time for that body. If lead is coming, where will body put? It will put into bones, put into brain cells, soft tissues, and also looks like it is going into the uterus. So some people have taken some biopsies and looked into lead content. It was very high. So toxic burden onto the organs and toxic burden also affecting the hormonal balances. So this is the thing that we have to look for if anybody we are looking at improving the fertility rates. Next slide. Now, interestingly, almost 17% couples are today affected with low fertility rates. 17%, such a higher number. Okay, and then translates to almost 48 million. Right, and again, these are affected because we are not looking at the system's biology. If probably we were looking at the right ways to help them, we would not need a fertility clinic in every corner. See, demand and supply. If there is more need in every corner, we have a fertility clinic, which is a sad state. In the conferences, typically people discuss revenues are increasing. This means humans are becoming more sicker, and we are celebrating the sickness. Celebrating sickness by saying, I can make more money now, which is a pathetic state for us as healthcare practitioners. We want to improve the health. We don't want to make somebody sick, celebrate, and somehow get money. You know, we have to be first patient care, sympathy, empathy. Then our food comes on the plate. But food is not the priority, should not be priority for us healthcare practitioners. You know, somebody says, I am engineer, they can do whatever they want to do. But if we are coming to this field, this should be our motivation, that we want to help people. So money should be very, very secondary. Next slide. So typically, fertility female factor is 30 to 40%. Male factor is also as equally big. Still, a lot of times, infertility means something wrong with the female, not necessarily. So almost equal rates where males' health is also compromised. The sperm quality is compromised. So this is also something typically at a good quality centers, probably they're looking the sperm quality, but majority of places, all the treatment is given to females. And it's not happening, and also they're happy. If first cycle of infertility, first cycle IVFs and all that they pass, money is lost. They typically run 3-4 cycles before it becomes successful. So ideally they should look at the male and female together and see where is the problem and then find a solution. But typically poor lady keep going into the circles. Before there's a, oh my God, male also has a problem, but number is already with us. And of course, combined for some reason, you know, mating is not happening at the right time, things like that. So that's also a play. Next, sir. Now, PCOS is the most common endocrine disorder affecting reproductive age of women. So, and its prevalence is almost 15%. Quite a growing problem. In PCOS, ovulation problems are there, less ovulation or anovulation. Hyperandrogenism is there, little bit of a male patterns are coming up, and the ovaries become, because they are not ovulating, there are multiple cysts are coming on the ovaries. Okay, so this is being the one of the most common reason behind infertility in the females, right? So lot of time they don't ovulate at the right time. So typically ovulation happens in the mid of the cycle, and if right time, if the predictability is there, then mating on the right time will lead to successful fertility. But if we don't have a right prediction, when the ovulation is happening, when the egg is available for to become fertile, then a lot of times these unsuccessful attempts are there. So this is regulating the period becomes crucial for us. But otherwise, if female don't have a 30-day period, or she has a 45-day period, 2-month period cycle, then we can actually help them get better rates by just simply monitoring the cycles. We can send them to a radiologist, and radiologist will monitor the cycle when the ovulation is happening. And then also, of course, there are nowadays some basic luteinizing hormone, progesterone. They test few things so that they have a better idea. So if we test, then follow the ovulation, chances of the fertility will improve just like that. Maybe simple intervention, we don't have to do a lot of things, but of course, preparation is always important. Next slide. Now, PCOS is a metabolic syndrome, okay? And one of the major reasons of PCOS is insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia. Metabolic failure is there, insulin is going up, and insulin going up leading to a lot of consequences. So, elevated insulin drives ovarian androgen overproduction, okay, thereby disrupts normal follicular development. Androgen excess eventually leads to anovulation also. And one of the reasons, of course, the chronic inflammation in the female body, right? Now, yesterday we discussed pretty detailed what is causing this resistance of insulin, okay? Same water, same sunlight, blue light, same carbohydrate diet, less sleep, toxins, nutrition. Sometimes it's so. We had a female, she was almost 42 years old and high autoimmunity, and she almost had 7 failed cycles already, because she was getting 42 and there's a lot of panic in the house and they were forceful trying. Finally, she gave up, that it's not happening. And she's a very, very high autoimmunity in her body, Hashimoto's, leaky gut, everything was reacting to her. We almost worked with her for 9 months to seal the leaky gut, to reduce the food sensitivities and autoantibodies. And more importantly, she was not in a rush anymore. She gave up. She think now it will not happen, whatever it is, fine. I am not bothered. Now stress has come down, body little bit healed, and naturally she delivered a healthy baby. Now, not that we were attempting to make her fertile. It's very important. If we are rushing for it, somehow I have to make it happen. It doesn't happen. If we just let it be, let the grace help us. When it has to happen, it will happen. So this is also important as a part of our, if counseling. If a female comes to us, she is wanting to have a baby, but she's stressed about it. Somehow she wants to make it. If she's stressed, no matter what we do, how much we try, because stress will not allow the hormones to flow into balance. Stress will increase prolactin. This will never happen. Next step. So again, insulin resistance leading to excess insulin production by the pancreas, and the excess insulin will lead to androgen production. So sometimes the facial hair, voice becomes deepened for females, things like that, simply because they're stressed, mitochondria is not healthy, too much of insulin, and insulin leading to more androgen in the female body. And then, then becomes another trouble. They become, from a cosmetic reason also, they become more stressed unnecessarily. Then eventually, anovulation. And then ovaries will have more, it's not erupting. Then cyst will become more on there. When we look at on the ultrasonography, you see ovary with multiple patches. Sometimes just it's not busting out and releasing the egg, as simple as that. But again, still a lot of doctors call it as a genetic problem. You go to a gynec, she will call it a genetic problem, then she will say nothing can be done. Let me give you a pill, which is your estrogen and progesterone, which is synthetic in nature, and they will make your period flow normal. It is not happening because the ovulation and natural production of hormones and coming down and things like that. So it is simply because we give them drugs and we increase the endometrial lining and we release the drug, stop the drug, and it sheds off and they have a normal 30-day flow. But ovulation is still missing. Then they say, okay, I made your periods okay, but now go for IVF and all that to make your fertility happen. So this is so much commonly happen, so simple problems, but overly complicated. Any questions so far? Next, sir. And similarly, we discussed males where sperm quality is a major concern. Okay. Now, sperm motility is directly dependent on the mitochondrial health, and mitochondria will make the ATP. Now, a sperm don't have enough mitochondria, don't have enough energy, the motility is reduced. The poor mitochondria cannot travel up. Then how will the fertility happen? Okay. If the person is having too much of infections and toxins, things like that, they will have higher oxidative stress. That also can reduce the quality of the sperm. And they can also affect the DNA of the sperm. This is also interesting. Maybe a person is otherwise genetically healthy, but if the quality of the sperm and DNA in the sperm is bad, then also the child will get affected. This is also very important. High oxidative stress in the man can lead to a, see, this is in our naturopathy, in our Ayurveda say sperm has to be of a good quality, egg has to be of a good quality, then only we get a healthier child. Else the child will have problems. One is having a child, one is having a healthier child. So having a sperm quality problems will lead to a poor quality. So we say in Ayurveda, abstain for few months before you try your pregnancy, so that sperm quality can become better. Sperm has enough vitality, enough energy. So these are all very, very, nature. We as from this country, we have been observing the nature pretty closely. Okay, so whatever is we have been asked to do in our culture, it has so much science behind it. But of course, sometimes science does not catch up with the reality, and we call the reality as a pseudoscience. But eventually, it comes a day when we realize, oh, that was true only. Now again, if the person is stressed out, person is low on proteins, person is low on zinc, that can reduce the testosterone. A lot of male come to us, I have a low testosterone. Nowadays, a lot of reels are coming up. My testosterone is low, things like that. Not getting enough sunlight, exposing too much to the artificial radiation, mobile phones, things like that. Not sleeping well, low protein in the body, low zinc in the body, less red light sunlight will reduce your testosterone. It's as simple as that. Most cases, there's no actually gonadal problem. It's only a signaling problem. You put them under sun, the testosterone will rise. You give them enough zinc, testosterone will rise. You give them enough protein, testosterone will rise. And of course, the endocrine disruptors. There are certain things which mimic like hormones in the body. Okay, and we call them, heavy metals can mimic like hormones. Microplastics can do that. Fungal byproducts can do that. Okay, this is also eventually affecting the quality of the sperms. So both female and male has to become healthy. They have to fix the basics. Then the chances of their fertility will get up. Otherwise, it's just a circus. People keep spending money. Next, sir. Now, this is very important. If a female body is struggling for energy, she is fatigued, her thyroid is poor, her insulin resistance is there. Okay, it's just an energy deficit state. Her energy state is just poor. Will she be ready for pregnancy? As simple as that. First, for this body, survival is the first choice. I want to live whatever life I have. Then I can be reproductively, happily doing it. There are a lot of people say, I don't have libido. When you look at libido, libido is a consequence of high state in the body, energy state in the body. If person don't have enough energy, how will they have libido? As simple as that. And where is the energy coming from? The mitochondria. If their B12 is low, the energy state is low, the libido is low, fertility is low. Okay. So it's very important. Adequate energy will help the hypothalamus release the downstream hormones. This is gonadotropin hormones. There's some while we are making this PDF to this thing, some this gonadotropin releasing hormones. See, your pituitary is sensing the downstream. A body is in a low state of energy, it will not release the hormones which are downstream going to affect. Thereby, there is luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, all of the hormones has to be released. Okay, probably will give you a PDF only after this, so that there will be change in the during conversion into this thing. Okay, so your hypothalamus is sensing your energy, as simple as that. Okay, if the person is low energy state, means mitochondria is compromised, the hormonal balance will never come into play. Okay, so same fundamentals we have to do to ensure their energy comes back. So this is a evolutionary logic. Okay, still it is not very widely accepted or talked about in the conventional medical field. They don't even think about these things. But if we are going under psychological stress, if we are under famine, if we are under illness, nature is not interested in fertility. First you survive, then you talk about fertility. Fertility is an extension of us, right? If I cannot survive, how will I have fertility? Right? So this is also important to understand, that if we have to make a person or a female fertile again, we have to bring them out of stress and we have to increase their energy state. That's basic. Next slide. Now, just like this mitochondria is required in the sperm, the mitochondria is also required in the egg oocyte. Okay, mitochondria is central to reproductive functional at every stage. Okay, from oocyte maturation to fertilization to early embryonic development. Okay, oocyte has to become egg. Enough energy is required. Once fertilization has happened, then also a lot of energy is required to grow and multiply in the womb. If mitochondria is not okay, this will happen. Shedding off will happen. So mitochondrial ATP production powers the spindle assembly required for accurate chromosomal regulation during meiosis. Okay, so this is all words. From practical standpoint of view, you just have to remember the mitochondria. Enough energy, less strain. Embryonic development, sperm motility, all of them are dependent on the mitochondria. Nowadays, luckily some of the gynecs are giving carnitine, CoQ10, B vitamins in infertile people. This is a good change. Of course, we can test and see whether carnitine is low, CoQ10 is low, or both of them are low, what is really necessary. But at least this has started happening. Even in the pharmaceutical space, they have these supplements as in the form of a drug, and we also has in the form of supplement. So sometimes, a couple is in a hurry to make it happen. Sometimes we have to use some level of supplementation along with our diet lifestyle to make it happen. Else the process itself becomes too stressful for them. But luckily this is happening. Next. Now this is another interesting thing, is how gut is affecting the hormone. Okay, so gut microbiome has a profound effect on the hormonal regulation. Disruption of the microbial balance can dysregulate estrogen metabolism and also amplify the systemic inflammation. Okay, now there's something called estrobilome. So basically, lot of the females, one of the reason of infertility is estrogen dominance. We call it estrogen dominance. Their uterus becomes more thick, uterine wall become thick, ultrasound, then we call it bulky uterus and all that. Ovulation is impacted. And one of the metabolite of the fungal infection, a metabolite of the fungal infection in the gut is mimicking like estrogen. And she's mimicking like estrogen dominance. Now, it's not that her body is making more estrogen. There are things which are mimicking like estrogen. So infection in the gut of candida, fungal, things like that, producing metabolites which are not allowing her to become fertile. As simple as so. Straight away, infections are affecting the metabolism. Now, estrogen, whatever has been produced, has to be cleared by the liver. Okay. Now, if liver is not able to do its job, then also estrogen dominance will happen. Now, what is the liver doing? Whatever we eat has to go into the portal vein, into the liver before it goes to system. So, liver is sort of defining what is good and bad for us. That is why we call it a detox organ. Now, 30% of the content of the plasma is microbial waste. 30%. And it can be good and bad, both. Depends on the microbiome. If you have good microbiome, the waste of the microbiome in the plasma is good, or it can be bad. A lot of people are developing non-fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver. And doctors are perplexed, oh, this guy is not drinking, how come there is a fatty liver? Something called auto-brewery syndrome. So we don't need to drink from outside, we make our own stuff. We brew our own stuff. Okay. So similarly, we are brewing alcohol, we are brewing acetaldehyde, formaldehyde, so many chemicals which are negatively impacting the liver. And your OTPTs will keep raised, and we don't know what is the reason. Now, the infections making estrogen-like molecules, infections making toxin affecting the liver, thereby clearance of the estrogen becomes a problem. So this is where again support to the liver to improve the hormone balance and cleaning infections becomes utterly important. Okay, and this is where microbiome science becomes important. Clinically, it's very relevant. See, sometimes these infections are so rigid; they don't go in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, like that psoriasis case. It may take months to years, that too with a persistent cleanup. You may choose herbs, you may choose pharmaceuticals, you may choose combination. The killing has to be constantly enough so that it does not come back. See, you do killing for 1 month, 30% is reduced. We take off this treatment, it comes back. Right. So this is also where treatment failures can happen. A female with candida infection, not getting fertile, we don't treat well enough, it comes back and she's still in a state where she's not become fertile. Now, same candida infection making mycotoxins, poisoning the mitochondria. Then also low energy state, she will have infection making toxins, toxin making CRP high. LDL becomes high. Okay, now interesting. You done your lipid profile, your triglycerides, your HDL, your LDL. Okay, and for some reason you ended up going to a doctor. A doctor will not worry what is your problem. He will look at your LDL now. Okay, he will look at your LDL. Oh, your LDL is very high. Now she is having infertility issues, and your LDL is high. What is his take? whatever it is, I don't care, I will give you statin. Now, statin will reduce the production of LDL from the liver. Now, temporarily LDL is looking okay, but statin started killing the mitochondria. Fertility becomes even a bigger problem. Okay, now LDL is produced by the liver to supply nutrients to the where the problem is there in the body. One of the nutrient it carries CoQ10. Now, if I stop the production of LDL via statin, what will carry my CoQ10 to the site of repair? I lost that opportunity. My body is still unwell, not repairing, because the molecule which is going to take that stuff to the site, I killed the production. Okay, now number looks okay. Statin will reduce your CRP, statin will reduce your LDL, statin will refractory increase your HDL. Because LDL is less, body thinks it's no inflammatory state, it makes HDL better. False numbers. This becomes our responsibility, because they will not learn. We are open-minded. It becomes our responsibility to tell our client, our patient, this is wrong. If you're taking statins and trying to protect your heart, trying to protect your fertility, or trying to protect your sperm, probably it will not happen. You're going ulta. So we need to understand better science to educate our patients so that they can take better decisions. Next step. So estrogen dominance described as clinical setting in which estrogen activity disproportionately elevated relative to the progesterone. So endometriosis. One of the reasons of endometriosis is high estrogen and low progesterone. Okay, either through excess estrogen or estrogen mimicking things, or low clearance of the estrogen because liver is compromised, or it can also be progesterone not enough. So sometimes it is also a good idea, if estrogen is keeping high, we can use something called wild yam. Wild yam has, we can use progesterone also, micronized progesterone into a clinical practice in the second period of the second half of the periods, or we can simply use wild yam. This will also improve the balancing of the estrogen. See, it will take some time for us to correct the estrogen clearance or excess of it. Black cohosh is something they use, sir. Yes. Vitex, yes, yes. Chasteberry. 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 So these herbs can play both. They can improve estrogen, they can improve progesterone also. But wild yam will straight away improve the progesterone. So it is a common but frequently overlooked contributor to the reproduction. So estrogen dominance, typically in gynec world they don't look at it. Okay, so it can lead to an ovulation. It can lead to uterine consequences where endometrial hyperplasia, uterine fibroids, adenomyosis, all of these very, very, very tough problems a female has to go through, simply because liver is not able to clear it. And then doctor will say, let me clog your artery. If a uterus has a fibroid, I have come up with a new technology where I will put a block to your artery, so supply to the fibroid is stopped. Okay, or for that matter, anyways, you are 40 years old, let me remove your uterus. Now, interestingly, we have seen females after uterus removals, they become autoimmune. The uterus was holding to the pain of the body in a way. All the problems in the body, poor uterus was holding on to. Now I have taken out the organ. Problem is still there. Estrogen dominance is still there. The problem causing the estrogen dominance is still there, and she turns to have a autoimmune problem. A lot of females I've seen after uterus removal, they tend to have a autoimmune problem. And of course, with the progesterone deficiency, implantation also becomes a problem. Okay, so basic fundamental, infection again, poor liver health again, and liver again needs the nutrients to detoxify. B vitamins are required, N-acetylcysteine is required, glutathione is required, and all of these things we can test. Nothing very rocket science. We can test and see what is required, we can feed to the body. See, you can give high vitamin C foods, but sometimes food may not be enough conducive, and if somebody is in a hurry, you can straight away do glutathione drips also. This is what we're trying to, if we understand the importance important in pregnancy, how it is important to cardiovascular health, things like that, then you can choose. This is my lifestyle, this is my food to improve this nutrients, plus I give a support from a nutritional side so that balancing, quick balancing can happen. Now imagine a female has lot of fungal infection. More toxins are being produced, more glutathione consumption will be there. So typically we have this RDA, daily recommended doses, vitamin C 40 mg, vitamin D 400 IU, things like that. They are maybe meaningful for a person who is good health. There's no problem. But when we have to fight a disease, we have to fight a crisis, you cannot play with the recommended doses. You have to go multiple higher doses. Sometimes we do 2 grams of glutathione every day. We do 10 grams of vitamin C every day. Okay, so depends on the severity of the problem also. One is the set protocols. I give you something, okay, you try this, try this. But if your patient is in a bad state, the need is more, you have to give more also. Clinical, this is important. Okay, so you are the decision maker. Rules are only to guide us, but rules are not absolute. So as clinicians, you can always decide how much for which patient. Somebody is very heavy on weight, somebody is 140 kilos, the demand will be higher. Somebody has suffering from a chronic problem for much longer period of time, the demand will be higher because repair will be too much required. Next slide. Now this is very important. Chronic stress and fertility. If somebody is stressed out, doesn't matter what we do, they will not become fertile. So one of the thing I keep telling anybody comes to us with infertility, please take it easy. Allow the nature help you rather than you think I can make it happen by going to a doctor. Doesn't work. Okay. So gonadotropin releasing hormone suppression can happen. If I'm stressed, my hormones will not even get triggered. Okay. Elevated cortisol reduces hypothalamic gonadotropin releasing secretion, blunting pituitary from releasing luteinizing follicle stimulating hormone, thereby the whole cycle of reproduction is gone out of balance. Okay, and failure to that can lead to ovarian dysfunction also. In the same, chronically elevated cortisol suppresses testosterone production. Somebody's cortisol is very high, testosterone. See, it's just a nature. If I am stressed, my energy demands are under threat. My body is not interested in mating, fertility, pleasure. That is not the job at that point of time. As simple as that. But we forget the basic physiology. If somebody is in a war-like situation, what will happen? Survival. Next step. Now this is also important. Environmental toxins are increasingly recognized as fertility disruptors. Okay. Heavy metals, lead, mercury, cadmium accumulate in reproductive tissues, impairing gonadal function, inducing oxidative stress, and damaging oocytes and sperm DNA also. Somebody's lead is high, sperm quality is gone. So if we don't test, how do we know it is there? Okay. So testing becomes critical, even for treatment, even for counseling. Singh sir? So this is also microplastics becoming a big problem today. Bisphenol A phthalates mimic block hormone receptors, disrupting estrogen signaling, thyroid function, androgen pathways in both sexes. Okay, so people who keep sipping on the plastic bottles, it is becoming habit. No, in the IT industry, people have, they buy 20 rupees bottle and keep sipping on it. They're hydrating themselves. They're hydrating themselves on a low mineral water, and they interestingly call it a mineral water. It's a low, low mineral water, and they call it a mineral water. Plus, more importantly, it is microplastic water. Okay, and they're always keeping a laptop eye. They think they're building a super code, but their own codes are getting fried. This is important that we bring some sanity to the world. We let them know. See, people can think anything about themselves as professionals. I'm sure you must be tackling with some of them. Okay? They're very logical. They think that they know the best and all that. But the basics is affecting their health and their possibilities. Sometimes you have to put them on the face. As medical practitioners, we have to sometimes become blunt to them to tell the reality. Okay, like somebody's yesterday saying somebody's doing a night shift. Can they become fertile? Less likely. But I cannot sugarcoat and tell them, oh, let me try. I have to tell them, Baba, change your job. Make your fertility priority. So life is only what we wish for. I wish for fertility. I have to do things for fertility. I am not sleeping at night. How will it happen? My mitochondria is not going to repair. Oxidative stress will keep high. So this is, and again, clean food, clean water, and detoxification. But sometimes this detoxification basics are not enough. Some people you do glutathione, you do lipoic acid, you're able to chelate some of the lead. But sometimes lead is so high, you have to do chelation. That is also one critical component we must add to our toolkit. Chelation becomes a critical component. I'm telling you today, everybody is so high on these metals. Okay, and they are affecting autism. You have lead. Infertility, you have lead. Autoimmunity, you have lead. And later stage, dementias, Parkinsonism, you have lead. The same lead is doing. Now, doesn't matter how much I try to feel, regenerate. If lead is there, you'll keep disrupting, keep killing. The damage. So chelation becomes a very, very important tool for us to solve our problems. A lot of time, lead is depositing into the vessels, coronary arteries, and the artery becomes clogged. You release the lead, the supply of the blood will becomes better. As simple as that. So disease is not coming from just out of nowhere. There is a problem somewhere that we have to figure it out and fix it. Next. Now this is also important. Methylation is an important thing, and in there, B vitamins play a critical role. B9, which is folate, and B12. Now, this another important thing to take away is lot of the doctors still giving folic acid. Now, folic acid is a synthetic B9. Instead of working, it is counterproductive. So, if anybody is taking folic acid, we must say don't do it, first of all. Second, the folic acid should be replaced with folate or methylfolate. Folic acid is a synthetic B9 and it is very, very counterproductive. And this is important for DNA methylation. This is important for neural tube development. And deficiency is associated with ovulation problems. And eventually pregnancy loss can also happen in some cases. Zinc and selenium is also important, critical for sperm production, testosterone synthesis, antioxidant defense. So 2 Brazilian nut every day. Most of the cases you can make as a protocol, 2 Brazilian nut every day. Now pumpkin seeds will give you enough zinc, 30 to 50 mg of zinc every day. If zinc still low, you can use supplements, and otherwise pumpkin seeds is a good deal. Vitamin D, see, now fact of the matter is you need UV light. Daytime 12 to 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. light you need on naked body to make vitamin D. Else you don't make vitamin D. Daytime, morning light will not give you vitamin D. Daytime 12 to 2 p.m. when the sun is high, then the UV light is there. And your body has to be naked absorbing that light to make your vitamin D. Okay. So this is again extremely important for immune modulation, for lot of the work, uterine receptivity, follicular development, immune modulation, all of that. So if the person is not making the vitamin D by their own, at least some supplementation we can give. Now who is going under sun at 12? They will have, are you going? Fantastic. No, that's good. That's good. Well, a lot of the people don't.
Most of the body should be exposed. Only head.
A lot of people are scared of the sun today.
Yes, sir.
They're told that you
Even
need to put a sunscreen to protect yourself from cancers.
Even I tell my patients when they go for walking, they wear full jacket, cap, mask, shoes, and tracks. There is no way sunlight can penetrate.
So this is also important. We tell our people,
Yes.
don't be afraid and scared of UV light. UV light is crucially important for mitochondria also. But other side, dermatologist saying, no, my God, somebody gets a psoriasis and they say, don't go under sunlight. I'm telling you, if they start going under sunlight, psoriasis will get better because sunlight is antifungal. Okay. So we have to change so much. Somebody has been told that you don't go under UV light, you only go in the morning sun and evening sun. Don't go in the day sun. How do you shift that mind? Take some time. So only we have to put that effort. Omega 3 and choline are also very, very critically important molecules. They reduce inflammation, they support sperm membrane integrity. Now see, cell membrane of anything, the cell membrane of the cells, membrane of the mitochondria, membrane of the sperm, whatever, brain cells and all that. This is where omega 3 fatty acids and choline crucially becomes important. See, anything has to enter into the cell, membrane has to be permeable. Anything has to go out of the cell, membrane has to be very, very permeable. See, all the metabolism is happening in the cell. Waste has to go out. Membrane has to become healthy. This is where omega 3 supplementation and choline. Now, I am being a vegetarian, I don't eat fish. Where do I get my omega 3? In regular food is relatively very, very less. You need at least 2 to 3 grams of omega 3 every day. 2 to 3 grams. That means 3 fish oil capsules. Well, I don't eat fish oil capsules, I eat algae oil, but 3 capsules at least, 3 grams in a day. Okay, this becomes critically important. Similarly, choline becomes important. And a lot of the eggs has good amount of choline, but vegetarians problem. So then supplement becomes a useful tool for us. See, at the end of the day, our job is to help the human body. We have to think out of the structures. As a practitioner, my goal is to improve the body. Whether I use lifestyle, I use naturopathy practices, I use supplementation, I use food, I use drugs, I use peptide, whatever. For me, my goal is to solve. We have recently started a new batch of training new doctors. We have 5 or 6 doctors in the new batch that we are doing online. And one of the doctors, she's MD medicine. She has a child, and after I think this one of the vaccine, the child got unwell, and she took homeopathy. Child got better. Now she's telling that when she tells this story to the colleagues are laughing on her. I was telling that vaccine, why do we need vaccines? Okay. Then she told me that as a medical practitioner, it feels like if I don't use vaccines, I'm betraying the system. That level of feeling is coming that if I don't follow my system, I'm betraying the system. Okay. Systems are built by the industries. We practitioners don't bother about the system. We bother about the patient sitting next to us. What is that we have to do for them? If they need drugs, they need drugs. If they need supplement, they need supplement. They need good food, whatever. Our mind should be clear, how do I fix it? We have to start thinking beyond our own structures. I'm a naturopath, I can only do this. No, why? We are practitioners of health. We are not sickness care practitioners. Okay. And for bringing health, whatever is necessary, we can do. If homeopathy is adding value, what is our problem? Right? So, but these are all powerful tools. We have to learn that use the tool at the right time. That's all. In the right way. It takes some time. First is openness. What is the problem? And how much my solutioning can help to solve the problem? And what is that I have to borrow? Functional medicine is just borrowed science. We borrowed something from allopathy, we borrowed something from naturopathy, we borrowed something from homeopathy, we borrowed something from Ayurveda. It's all borrowed, and we are proudly calling ourselves. So it is not about what is a label. As a practitioner, can I help somebody who's suffering, which is sitting next to me today? That openness. Next. So now, 7 pillars of improving fertility. We have to improve the metabolic balance, we have to regulate the hormones, we have to improve the microbiome, we have to improve the immune system, we have to improve the nutrition, reduce the toxins, and of course the psychology, circadian. Same fundamentals, nothing new I'm telling again. Okay. Can we do only this or that? All it's just like a car. 4 tires are required to run a car. Can you fix 3 tires and run the car? Right? Body needs what it needs, period. You cannot say I only will give you B complex, but vitamin D I'm not in a mood to give you today. If body needs vitamin D, it needs vitamin D. As simple as that. See, this is another thing. This is something called biosimilars. When you give paracetamol, body don't understand paracetamol. 80% of the paracetamol or 85% of the paracetamol removed by liver as a first pass mechanism. Only 10 to 15% is in the blood, nutrient. Because it is there in the body understands it pretty well, and it is conducive for the body to take it. Okay, it's just coming in a form of a pill, that's all. Next. So metabolic resistance of insulin, hyperinsulinemia, we have to fix. Caloric restriction, extreme exercise can also be counterproductive. Activity, especially a female looking for pregnancy, this can become a problem for them. Okay, and if too much of a calorie restriction, if there's no enough energy, not enough calories, it's a problem. Right? So far questions, comments, questions. The same stories. Correct. Next. Now, majorly In terms of your hormones, you want to look at thyroid. Again, thyroid is affecting the mitochondria. Resistance of insulin, mitochondria. Hyperprolactinemia, and one of the reason is hypothyroidism. One of the reason of hyperprolactin is low sunlight. Body is in tune for health only. It's only when we don't do the right things we get a problem. Ah, sir. Right, sir. Correct, sir. Correct. Yes, sir. UV. Sir. UV light is important for vitamin D. Sir. Day sun. So actually we need morning, day and evening, all of that. Because the 3 of time will have a different radiations. Sir. Correct. 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 Exactly.
Glasses.
Correct, sir. Right. Right, sir. Correct, correct. Yes, yes. So we have to build that tolerance. Correct. Correct, sir. Correct, correct. So only the pharmaceutical side when they made this sunblocks, science becomes corrupted. That's all. Next, sir. Huh? Well, altogether, if 45 minutes to 1 hour in a day we expose to sun, 20-30 minute morning, 10-15 minutes day, then 45 minutes to 1 hour is good enough. So we have a high pigment, sir. Huh. No, well, sir, I don't think that is very. See again, that 2 to be 40 to 60 or 60 to 100 is primarily a reference from the West. India will not have looked at a healthier population. Doctor, see, we are all speaking the borrowed language. We are not generated our own words and language and meanings to these things. So I met a doctor from UP. She says, so she recently got exposed to functional medicine. She was very interested. Elderly lady. She said, I have been testing recently vitamin D in my locality in UP, and there are somebody is 20, somebody is 30, and everybody is healthy. I said, then probably that is their right number. And they are farmers, they exposed to sun and all that. Then probably that is their number. So that is also something we have to.
Roughly 85-90% it is low. Now, vitamin D. Never. Even before, see, if you go for the costing, vitamin D 1900 will take 1400 for B12. If you buy the medicine itself, it is 100 rupee for B12. Vitamin D you will get in 100 rupees. So for 100 rupees, however, we know 90% already are deficient. Why can't give for everyone instead of simply testing?
Oh, fair point.
Only vitamin D hyperinsulinism is possible. Vitamin B12 water soluble, fueling alone. See, when you know 95% are already deficient, hardly you see hypervitaminasis. And also restricted dose with vitamin D.
Hypervitamin, see, technically it's all possible,
Yes.
but practically a rare thing.
Chances
Doesn't really. Again, the point is, I work with mostly sick people. Now, vitamin D in a supplement form also has a immune regulatory effect. It strengthens the immune system and it reduces dysregulation. So anybody with autoimmunity, you can use high vitamin D, which typically works like a steroid in high doses. So inflammation will come down. So instead of using a steroid, I can use vitamin D support, a supplement. Now, I still don't know a healthy population of farmers who are exposing to sun. What is, if they're really healthy? So one is feeling healthy because yesterday I was telling you about a case who is a colonel from army, retired, today having leukemia. He don't have any symptom. And no symptom. See, the mindset is important. He is from army. Thoda about a symptom, they don't even feel it. Small issues, their mind doesn't even recognize it because this is how the training has been for them, right? So really is to figure out which is the right healthy population, and we get their numbers, and then we compare with them. Today we are all unhealthy. Now what is this labs are doing? Earlier zinc was on the lab, 250 was normal as a reference. Now because everybody is low on zinc, the reference has shifted to 250 to 90 today. So low reference has become a normal because everybody is sick and everybody is low on zinc. So this is also as practitioners, one is what we are saying and talking and all that, but our own observations in the clinic, is it really relevant? These stories are really relevant. Okay. So what I am doing is I'm practicing, but I'm only practicing with sick people. I don't know, like athletes, they're healthy people. Is really HbA1c of 8 is okay for them, or it leads to consequence at least? I don't know. So that is also something we learn to some basic information, and we build on the top of it. This is not a Bible, okay, that remains constant. So this is also something as practitioners we have to keep in mind. So this is estrogen dominance by estroblom disruption. The dysbiosis alters the enzyme, increasing estrogen reabsorption also. Liver will put it off into the bile and to the gut, but if this microbiome is not okay, the estrogen keeps getting absorbed. So hormones can be impacted badly by the microbiome. Gut permeability will lead to endotoxin translocation, triggering immune activation, thereby endometrial thickening or endometriosis because of high estrogen, things like that. So typically endometriosis is high estrogen and inflammation. Okay. So any female, see, they're not born with it. Endometriosis, they're not born. At some point in time it happens. But you go check with the gynec, I don't know why it happens. I can only give you progesterone, methyl progesterone, something, some they call it. If they have to use it, they should use micronized progesterone to support estrogen. But they give a synthetic format. But in any case, dysbiosis reduces absorption of fertility critical microcomponents like folate, zinc, vitamin D, B12. A lot of the B vitamins are made in the gut by the microbes. Okay. Now when we say we are becoming deficit in B12, we have lost 30% of our microbial diversity already. The B vitamin producing capacity of the microbiome is lost because of antibiotic use. All of us would have been exposed to antibiotics at some point. And restoration of the microbiome is no joke. It's very tough. But we can try all our best abilities to prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics, whatever we can do to maintain that. But sometimes what is lost is always lost. Then we keep doing some patch-up work. But at least comparatively, we can do a better patch-up work. Okay. Next. Immune balance is very important. If a person is high on inflammation, on autoimmunity, so successful reproductive function hinges on the fine-tuned immune system. Okay. If the mother state have a lost immune tolerance, then accepting the embryo becomes a problem. They can have abortions just like that. And a lot of time, some females, they have artificial abortions of some reason. Then they also build autoimmunity and loss of tolerance. This is also some sanity has to preserve into us. That fertility is such a thing. If it happens, we should accept the way it is. Right? But if we are forcing abortions on the body, some remnants will always remain in the body. How much ever clean you do the uterine lining, DNC you do, some remnants will remain, and that remnants will cause immune dysregulation. So this is also something, as one is treating the current problem, but also our objective is to make a population healthier. Today, somebody don't have a problem, but we have to educate them to it, don't do it. Abortion has become a easy peasy thing. So, and eventually affect their fertility. So, if immune is not balanced, embryo acceptance becomes a problem. Immune system can kill off the embryo itself. Okay, and of course, the other part which we know. Next slide. Now, nutrition is important for your hormones, for your mitochondria, and of course, DNA replication and integrity. Okay. Fats are very important. Healthy fat is so important for your hormone production. Okay. Now, there's a low fat food that is going on. Now, fat can be bad, depends on which fat, but not every fat is bad. And fat is anti-inflammatory also. Fat is a structural raw material to the body. It feeds our cell membranes, omega-3 fatty acids. Okay. It feeds our immune cells also. It feeds our high demanding cells, for example. So diet must have enough healthier fats also, very, very critical. Next section also will discuss what are the nutrients that we need for these things. Basics, of course, B12, folate, zinc, things like that. Okay. Well, we can always test them and see what is missing. If we don't know the real picture, test and feed them what is missing. As simple as that. Okay. And remove what is unwanted. Okay. Lead, mercury, cadmium can induce oxidative stress damage, DNA damage, mitochondrial damage, all of that can happen. So we have to remove. So removal first, we have to reduce the intake, has to be clean, so we can reduce the load. Second is, there's one famous, some orthopedic doctor writes on LinkedIn. I don't remember the name of the doctor now. He says whatever these guys saying detoxification is all fake. There's no such called detoxification. I write a note to his LinkedIn post. Okay, detoxification happens at the various levels. Making sure gut is moving, it's a part of detoxification. If bowels are not happening, detoxification will not happen. Okay, then your liver is cleaning up the thing, which is detoxifying yourself. Then the blood has to be detoxified. Then intercellular space also has to be detoxified. To the subtle where we have to detoxify the cell also. Okay, so what is that we can do? Bodily movement, physical movement, things like that, and we can make sure bowels are happening. If we need some laxative support, some castor oil, some coconut oil, some fiber diet, hydration, whatever else is required, we have to make sure everybody every day they are moving the bowels. Okay. Second is liver support. Azhar? Right. See, digestive process itself is a very energy consuming process, and one of the things that is happening there is production of enzymes. So in any case, if we support ourselves with external enzymes to our digestion, we safeguard ourselves from the possible problems and we save our energy also. So digestive enzyme, no matter whether somebody healthy, unhealthy, if we really want to do it, we can do it for everybody. Very useful, sir. Coffee enema can be very, very potent. I think this is something if we are not doing, probably we can think about. Coffee enemas can improve the glutathione production, and liver detoxification becomes very, very important. And there's something called sodium bicarbonate bath or wrap. So I think if somebody gets a time to this Barbara O'Neill. Barbara O'Neill, she is a good naturopath from Australia. Probably, we can buy her some educational content, and one of the content in that is for cancer patients. So she does is sodium bicarbonate bath. Either take a bath itself or take a towel, dip into the sodium bicarbonate solution and wrap in the body for some time. So this also can be very, very alkalinizing and detoxifying to the body. But coffee enema is very, very potent. That can be done to anybody and everybody. So basic, the liver needs B vitamins for detoxification. Then milk thistle can be very, very potent. Choline can be very, very potent. Fatty acids, of course, omega-3 things like that are very, very potent for the liver. Then glutathione and N-acetylcysteine also can be very potent. Taurine can be very potent, especially for gallbladder problems. Taurines can be very potent. Systemic enzymes can be very potent when we use enzymes on an empty stomach for the gallbladder. Especially the gallbladder, then the stones are these stones are fat stones, cholesterol stones only. So if we use lipid digesting enzymes on empty stomach, potentially we can slowly dissolve the stones also. Flushed. Flushed out. Correct.
In Ayurveda, Grutapana, they do correct. Grutapana, 30 ml, 60 ml, 90 ml, 150, 200.
Correct.
Ghee.
Correct. Correct. Well, correct. 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 So only thing is that I think the common biliary duct is 5 mm. This stone size is less than 5 mm. Then we can safely do this procedure and clean out the gallbladder. We have done in many of our patients, and they felt tremendous benefits after that. Okay. Huh.
Epsom salt.
Huh. So Epsom salt potentially can dilate the ducts to pass out these stones. Only thing, if the stone is more than 5 mm, then we have to wait till it reduces, then else it can get stuck into the duct. It can cause a problem. So probably having an ultrasonographer on the job is a good idea. But it's a potent process, very potent process, and especially in autoimmune cases, you will see good outcome. Next step. So like we said, cortisol dysregulation is important. Melatonin imbalance is also important. Sunlight will help us make melatonin. At night we used to sleep, but sunlight is a trigger for melatonin. If we don't get, I was in Norway for 2 years. And there are days when it is dark, morning dark, night dark, and I could not sleep for days. I could not understand. Correct. Correct. so, so this crazy. People don't get sleep and they get nuts. It's crazy. Sir. Okay. Huh. Okay. Cortisol. Huh? Correct. See, one is knowing the problem, which is, let's say we can get, now we know this patient has been stressful for 3 months. Then what do we do about it? This is where the tricky part. As practitioners, we can only counsel and talk. Now, how effectively we are talking will decide the outcome. How empathetically we are talking will decide the outcome. How scientific we are talking will decide the outcome. So, sir. Correct, correct. Correct. So there is something called, sir, let's say this is the cortex, brain cortex, and this is the thalamus, okay? So all the sensory input for the touch, temperature, mouth, oral, eyes, sound, so all the sensory input has to go through the thalamus, then has to come to the cortex. Now, if this thalamus is overactive, okay, there's an imbalance in this thalamus that it cannot filter out relevant and irrelevant. For example, now we are talking, we can switch off the outside, it is not going to the cortex. Now, some of these people who cannot sleep and they have running thoughts and they cannot calm their mind, the thalamus has been overactive. Then melatonin will be of no great use. So we have to bring it back into balance. Now, one of the reasons is overactive because infections are causing activation to the some receptors. But we can use magnesium threonate or taurine as a supplement to balance this out. Magnesium threonate or taurine, and probably they will have less activity in the cortex and they may sleep off. That is why one of the thing is the overstimulation before sleep. If they're watching, then there's so much is going into the cortex and then don't. Correct. Correct, sir. Correct, sir. Correct. Correct. disrupted.
3 hours.
Correct?
It's easy to treat, but when it comes to the practice, at least if you share with them, you will have checking your
Correct,
person
correct,
as if you were married.
correct, correct.
I agree on this.
Okay. Well, I think we are almost this section of the infertility is, so again, nothing very great, nothing very new, the same information in different wrapper. Okay, fundamental remains same. This means if we do the basics, almost 80% of the cases which are infertile today in this clinic, we can make them fertile with the basics what we are already doing.
In your clinic, how do you keep your 3 months program?
3 months, huh, sir.
3 months.
And we have a regular follow-up. We don't let them off the hook.
You keep the
Huh. Yes,
regular maintenance.
correct.
Because this 7 days you can't do it.
Correct, sir. We have to
But
have.
at least you should be in a position to reimburse them
Correct, sir.
and say that these are all the funding
Correct, sir. Correct, sir.
and see that
We can kickstart them in the 7 days. We can prep their mind and the body, and then they have to continue while they're home. And ideally, they should come back in 6 months again, and we run the retest. While they're home, we retest them, so that there's a continuity maintained with them. See, it's also setting a responsibility on them. See, today, most of the time, especially in the wellness space, patients like, I paid money, now it's your duty to fix me. So they paid money. The moment they have paid money on the counter, they think I should start healing.
now I pay, my job is finished.
So this is, sir, one part of the education that we have to set the accountability on their head only. Even though they have paid, but they only has to heal. We can. So first thing I tell my patients, I can only make a plan. I can give you this and that. Ultimately, your mind has to heal you. I can only tell you a story how to heal you. So if you trust me, if you work with me, there's every chance. If you keep doubting me, if you keep blaming me, you waste your money, I waste my time. This is also important as practitioners, we have to be blunt and very, very confident with them. So today, I have a child, the father is GI doctor, mother is ophthalmologist, child has gut problems and I'm working with them. Okay. Father is a psychiatrist, child is with me for autism. Father is a neurologist, child is with me for autism. Okay. Not that I have degree. It's just as practitioners, we have to have enough confidence. Doesn't matter who's at the front. Okay. See, when they are at the front, we are the authority. We have to act like authority. Then they will not, do the tantrums. Else the tantrums are too many. This is also important as practitioners. Okay? Yes, it's a wellness industry which some part of, we have to accommodate them and all that. But when it comes to real problems, you have to show them the mirror. That this is your problem. If you're in a state today, this is your problem, you have not been doing right. Let us put a plan for you to make it right. Okay, next, sir. Well, I think just a summary. Okay. Okay, I think we can take a small break. And
So what is the opinion of using menstrual cups? They insert in the morning. Till night they won't remove it or change it. But nowadays the trend is more now, so they are being changed. Is there any chance of developing infections or something? They have been retaining it for a longer time.
I don't know. I think too much of intervention is a problem. Okay. We have to keep, see, if the blood has to flow out, it has to flow out. It cannot remain in the cavity. It may not straight away infection, but it may, see, it is, body is trying to release something which it does not want. And somehow the cup some content is still in the vicinity, which can get reabsorbed, which a maker will not understand. See, these are all today. Lot of the technologies and medical this thing out of the whims and fancies. Not that they know the problem. Somebody has come up with a cover because it's convenient, but convenient does not necessarily means healthy. So I haven't seen that part, but logically speaking, may not be a great idea. हाँ sir. हाँ. हाँ sir. Hmm. हाँ. हाँ. Correct. हाँ sir. Correct. Hmm. Correct sir. High. Correct. 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 Ah, yeah, sir. Sometimes so many cases we have seen, we did not even try for making them fertile. They were trying with other. Huh, influencer. CRB high, TSH will shoot up. Just giving TH4 thyroxine will only reduce the number. The problem is there, fertility will still be a problem. We have to bring homeostasis, capacity for body to repair. See, we can only bring homeostasis.
Yes, sir.
Treatment and healing has to happen by the body only.
Because there is a one book, Anatomy and Physiology by Totora. Everything, whatever concept they explain, they only the homeostatic point will explain. Because even in our medical school, we never heard of that book.
हाँ सर.
And going for deadlifting and all this experiment. And what is your influence about this? Because their perspective is if they do more exercise, they will be more healthy. So that is their
No, I think it's a very well established phenomena. If female becomes over physically, especially muscle building and all that, her fertility will reduce. Because see again, female is a female, male is male. We have a different function and she has a different function. Now, if she start building muscles, her testosterone has to go up. Right? Then invariably her fertility.
what she excessive, it's not like bodybuilding, but she's doing exercise when during her pregnancy.
Ah.
It's like that.
See, first 3 months during pregnancy.
Yeah. And that is almost till 5 to 6 months is doing that.
See, first 3 months baby has to develop. All the resources of the body has to go to the baby. From two cells, it has to become multi-cell, and almost organs are developing. This is a very crucial period. The female is overactive, too much of physical activity. See, if I'm doing my physical activity, will I hamper the nutrition to my baby? Right? So this is important that in first 3 months she has to take it easy. last 3 months she can be active in terms of improving the pelvic floor and all that. But again, see, this is my assumption or understanding. In reality, until we see hundreds and thousands of these cases, we cannot make out. But very, very logical, if you ask me. First 3 months, we should not take a risk.
After that,
Like always fine. Basics is always fine. Walking and it's always fine. But the first 3 months is when the baby is becoming a human from two cells. It's a high energy consumption process.
and one patient,
Huh.
like one of my brother, like he was having sleep apnea at first place, and he's having GBI,
Huh.
and he's been recommended some unknown physician which whom I don't know.
Huh.
He is recommending cocoa with bleaching because he's having very low energy levels. Apart from sleeping for almost 8 to 9 hours, he's not able to like. But in the morning he's feeling restlessness. But if he takes cocoa with ghee, and he's like, I have the whole energy for the whole day, and he feels frequent hunger. Like if he doesn't take this in the morning, he keeps on getting hungry, so that he keeps bulging. So with that, he has increased his thing. And like how do we intervene in his lifestyle so that it will be helpful for him? Is it good that he used to be cocoa plus ghee? Is that helpful?
Technically, no problem. I have not used it, but I can. But as components, if it is helping, I don't think it is see a problem. But now, if she has GERD, why do we have GERD? Because there's increased bloating in the intestine. As the stomach bloats, abdomen bloats, the content will be reflux back. Pressure is high. So, if any infections are causing this bloating, we have to clean it out. Second possibility is when we eat a lot of carbs and sugars, then bloating will be more. We have to reduce that food. Third is low stomach acid. When stomach acid is low, then reflux can happen. So we can fix that. Uh,
So how do we intervene in this? How can we, with respect to what kind of diet that we use for him?
low carb diet,
Low carb diet would be fine. Okay.
2 meals a day. Typically nowadays we are doing 5,000 IU per day for a few months already. That is
Every day
good.
5,000 units, unless like he or she gets the normal values, which is for 30 to 60 days.
Correct.
Okay, that is the idea.
Now even for maintenance we have to continue
Okay. And that time, is it the
5,000.
reduce the dosage to 1,000 or
until in some cases like after 6 months you test and it becomes high. Then you can take a break or you can titrate accordingly.
so whether 2 months you should be regular dosage.
Or you can go to 2,000.
Okay. That should be the recommendation. And there's one more thing for if the patient is on low vitamin D, and some people tell that with sunlight you have to go with coconut oil. How is that like? But if you're going for exposure to sunlight, people recommend
Correct.
to take
So,
coconut oil
Yeah,
for
it's
the whole body.
correct. So it's typically it's UV plus fat turns into vitamin D. So if you massage yourself and go in the sun, possibility of making vitamin D is high.
So instead of normally getting exposed to sun, it is
But
better to
ideally, if your body has enough fat, probably then
inside the body. Okay. Enough edible
Ah,
is fine. So either it is like external or either it is
always practical.
okay. That is okay. Thank you.
Ajay? No problem, sir. So we'll leave, sir, after the. Huh? I did not see.
Because someone came, he has repaired and he said, he gave me the card. I said, I'm not going.
No, no. I have not seen since yesterday, so I don't know.
No, you are given for the
No,
prepared
no, no,
incidents.
no,
He has repaired and brought the
no, no,
case.
no, no. No, I did.
Some people gain weight and some people suddenly lose it. Like, why is that causing? Like, some people are innovative, it's lifestyle. But I don't feel it is a lifestyle sometimes. Like, actually, it is not just food. It's about food, exercise, hormones, but they are gaining weight for a reason, and some people are losing weight. Now, why is that the difference? Like, why they are losing weight and why some people are gaining weight?
Okay. Now, PCOD is typically a insulin resistance phenomenon. Okay. Ideally, if these guys will gain weight, ideally.
Because I am suffering from the past 6 years. I'm always gaining weight. If I maintain my food also. When I come out, again the menstrual cycle is imbalanced. But when I'm home and with the proper food, it is normal. Okay. But when I see my friends who is losing weight, but they are also in same stage.
Correct.
But why is that they are losing weight and I'm gaining weight?
So, in those scenarios, most likely there are infections in their gut which may be causing IBS kind of symptoms to them, and they're losing a lot of the nutrition and they're dumping out a lot of stuff.
Okay. Like, it is not taking inside, but it is taken outside.
So, they will have a lot of infections. Anybody typically losing weight, otherwise okay health, gut is a mess,
The main reason is only the
most likely.
so
If
now
you ask them how many stools they pass, do they have a stool after a meal, so typically they will have this problem.
because me and my friend after in the hostel, we had both PCOD. Before that, we were very healthy, nothing problems.
After what?
Joining hostel food,
Ah,
like the hostel
correct,
food
correct,
and the
correct.
lifestyle food, we are not getting enough rest or enough
Yeah,
physical
yeah.
activities.
Correct, correct.
But now I am taking some medications. It will become normal. Or like hormones, hormonal medications. I will take this medication. Everything will be normal for a month. Again, it is the same.
No, this is only to correct your periods artificially.
But generally, if I'm correcting with my lifestyle,
Ah,
if I'm doing with my food also, my periods are not becoming normal.
It may take time.
Like, I should follow the same step, but wait for 3 to 4 months and then.
Resistance of insulin can take 6-9 months at least. See, food lifestyle one, infections another one, toxins another one, nutrition is another one. So you have to look at the whole spectrum and work on it.
Like, mainly one of my doctor from yesterday that we do fasting for 5 days. So that helping improve. But then your menstrual cycle also can get improved.
Correct.
But my thing is, when I do fasting, I'll be fine for 2 days. But the third day, I'll start getting my head,
Correct.
which cannot be controlled. I start getting cravings and I get stressed.
Correct. So this most likely the fungal infections are there when you are hungry. These infections are also hungry, and then they will cause you problems. So if you clean your infections, then you can have extended fasting easily.
First thing is I have to clean the internal infections.
Correct.
And then
When you're fasting, your cravings becomes easy. You don't crave.
and one more thing, if our 8 hours sleep at night is not fine, is that also a cause for the weight gain?
Yes.
It is mainly a cause or it is a part of.
So this is never a one problem. Now ultimately mitochondria is unhealthy. If you don't sleep, you don't repair. This becomes unhealthy. You have an infection making toxin poisoning unhealthy. You have heavy metal poisoning. This becomes unhealthy. You don't have enough fatty acids. nutrition in the body, this becomes unhealthy. So ultimately, this is becoming a mess.
It is a weak.
Then leads to resistance of insulin, leads to all the consequences.
And one thing, so many, like from past experience, I have this disorder, but still, I have deficiency of calcium, B12, and vitamin D. Okay. In case I'm more outside in the sun, so I have vitamin D. I have no such things like I get tan or something. I should put sunscreen or something, but still my vitamins are very low.
So D will come from the sun.
Sun.
Okay. Rest of them come either food or the microbiome. Either food is missing on them, or microbiome doesn't have enough bacteria to produce them. The only way is to supplement it.
So if it is not because of the sun, if I am getting enough amount of sun also, but still my body is not able to
See, the thing is for vitamin D, body has to be exposed under sun, which we are typically covering our body.
yeah, this much is also not
Ha,
enough.
correct.
So because of that also one of the main, because we are working always inside.
Ah.
So because of that also it might be
Correct.
better.
Yeah.
It can be corrected by going out for the sun at least.
Sunbathing. If let's say you are home, you have a place where you can sit idly, little body exposed. Yes.
So despite all of this also is a part of peaceful, the vitamin deficiencies is a part in that, like they are also taking a part in this. But because of peaceful you also face something like that.
No. PCOD is a consequence of the problem. PCOD is not causing the problem.
Those are causing peaceful.
PCOD. PCOD is a downstream effect. Upstream, you have infections, you have food problems, you have sleep problems, nutrition problems, toxin problems, then causing PCOD. Not that PCOD is no.
So your process is first you clear your gut, then everything will be good.
Fix your sleep, fix your food, reduce your carbohydrate, fix your gut, test your nutrition, fix that. If any toxins are there, clear them out.
Then it will.
Yeah, 100%. How old are you?
I'm 24.
No problem. Yeah. 100%.
Hopefully day by day comes with controlling my cravings of food.
See, sometimes it's not you craving, it's infections craving. And becomes extremely tough. You cannot control. Doesn't matter what we do.
Because of that, more weight.
Huh.
I'm just 49. Now I'm almost having 85. That is almost double the vitamin.
Infections.
Have to clear my then
Correct. Sir. Taurine.
The Red Bull and all. But so taurine it will be put it in the drink, energy drink.
Maybe, sir. But the taurine supplements are available.
In the Red Bull also they put the taurine, energy drink.
Maybe. I don't know that.
So this is what I was.
So one of the amino acid.
Taurine. This is same thing, no? You said.
Taurine. Same.
Energy drinks and all that, but because vegetarian doesn't get taurine. It actually get from fishes, meat,
Yeah.
get taurine. Vegetarian doesn't get only in the milk, it has got very good. So you have to take a supplement. Even in this, they will give that Red Bull, the soft drinks and all those. But other things, what is there added to it?
Correct. So supplements, sir. 500 mg, 1 gram every day. Supplements. 1 to 2 capsules every day.
See, my dad doesn't sleep well. I have major problem with sleep.
You have to.
Someday, see, I just sleep maximum 8:30, 9 o'clock. Morning I get up at 4. That is between 6 to 8. Someday 1 o'clock when I came, 4 o'clock she will say, she won't get sleep. It may be some stress, something or other.
Self-induced, sir. Sometime we can try, sir. Start with 500 mg of taurine.
taurine. We'll get supplement.
Hey,
So when will she have
night.
before sleep?
Taurine actually she can take day also. See, ideally, sir, we should evaluate one organic acid do get her, no?
I was telling, see, I got so many testing and then nothing I can say. My first aid inputs and that my body also got this.
HS.
She wanted to. Secondly, tomorrow she's going to
US.
Qatar.
Oh, okay.
She said, I said, some extent will be good. So many are impending. Once if you say yes, yes, I wants to do. Sir, you want us to do metabolism? No, metabolism was so many are there.
So we have to look at the plan, sir, no? Right, sir? The plan.
Yeah, plan is yeah, plan is same thing can be continued.
We'll do it for 3 months, sir.
3 months if we do the same plan. And
I'll just quickly tell you, sir, what is there.
Hello. Hello. You should, you should support the party. With regard to the HCH meeting, we are getting to, we are getting from these days to these. First step. And now, before the part, you should just send an email, so subsequent to your there, but a significant start. Continuation.
Anything, sir. Anything. Simple thing, sir. You have a charger with your phone? You're carrying a charger, phone charger? ठीक है, sir.
No.
That plan, sir. Plan is there. No problem, sir. Welcome. So PD is typically low dopamine state. Now, one is definitely this structural degeneration that is happening. Second is sometimes cell is not able to perform, not completely degenerated, but because of the basics are missing, it's not able to perform. So, and toxins are quite heavy for him. So now at this age, we may not want to do too many things. We want to do supportive things that bring some relief and see. Based on that, if he is more willing, we can put more effort. So today, based B12 was very low. Mitochondrial health was compromised. Heavy metal infections are there. So all is depicting ammonia was high. So all of sometimes it's only dopamine, and sometimes other things also can be complicating the biology. But focus is only on the dopamine as per the clinical practice. So we're just trying to support the basics in his body and see how he does. We do it for 3 months. So if you go down, sir, I will put that. Now this glutathione and lipoic will help the mitochondria. They will also help remove some of the metals from the body. B complex is required. Vitamin C is with phospholipids. So phospholipids will also comes as a structural raw material. Plus, we will add some carnitine to it that will supply the mitochondria energy, so that production of dopamine can get better. So these Neurorise is I'll send the links to it. Neurorise is we have made this mushroom blend again to improve the capacity of the brain. Then this Strocet is a pharmaceutical which has citocholine and piracetam. Citocholine again improving the neuroplasticity. Then omega 3 and zinc magnesium. And this is a peptide. These are two probiotics because ammonia is high, so bifido is there, and Saccharomyces boulardii plus a peptide to if it helps some level of repair regeneration. So probably this is a good start, and then after 3 months we can see how he's feeling. If there's a 10-20% difference, then it's a good motivation for us to. So if you think this is okay and can be followed, we can.
Yes, I'll share with the primary physician
Huh.
in the practice. Okay.
Huh.
And then follow it.
Correct. We just have to explain.
Explain it.
Otherwise,
Yeah. Now, if you can help me with when you are free, just for XYZ,
Huh.
small paragraph
Okay,
on each.
fine, sir. Fine.
So it
Huh.
becomes easy for you.
Sure, sure. I will write. Yes. No, sir. I'm okay. Migraine. Huh. 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 Correct. Correct. So same. The cortex thalamus. This is called thalamocortical dampening. Taste, smell. See, it's like this becomes overburden, and then she has a problem.
She thought she have so many patients. She have 100 patients. She's 100 patients. And she not patients.
See, so start with first is the support. If she cannot do 100 things,
And her sleep pattern also. She is going to bed at 10 o'clock. But she is not getting the office.
see, you start with one taurine capsule 500 mg and start with one magnesium threonate. After these two supplements, they will help calm her brain down.
It's after food like how
Before sleep. Before sleep,
both.
magnesium threonate, one capsule,
Really?
threonate, THREO, and taurine.
Both. After meal or before?
Before sleep. Before sleep. Okay. So this will temporarily block the pathways. Thereby, reduction is in the this thing. But if we clean her gut, we clean her leaky gut, then the food sensitivities will reduce, all of that. Then eventually the disruption in there will get better. But temporarily, just to make it a little more easy, we can do this. Yes.
But it's little costlier also.
It's all everything. This
Because packaging and everything advanced.
correct? No, actually no. Most of these nutritional companies that we are making 1,000, 2,000 boxes at a time. So the volume is so less that manufacturing cost is high. Pharmaceuticals they make in huh. As the demand will get better, costing will get better. Unfortunately, it is high.
Because that was coming in last time.
Correct.
Advertising is coming last time.
Recently, this well-being nutrition has been sold for 1,600 crores.
So it's a big company.
But only started in 2000, 6 years old. Correct, correct. So you have a charger for this?
C type.
See.
Mobile bank.
Okay, we start. Well, I think another common problem that we see is neuropathy. Uh, Again, lot of symptoms, and most of the time gabapentin is the answer. Okay, people suffer from various kind of symptoms: burning, pain, things like that. So if you understand the underlying possibilities, then we can do much more than gabapentin. Again, we will try to see what is the reason, what are the support possibilities, how different things we can do, because nervous system is very difficult to work upon. Liver is easy, fertility is easy. Nervous system once goes bad, it's very tough to recover it. So that's the nature of the nervous system. So next step. So prevalence is quite hard. Almost 30 to 50% in diabetics is becoming common. Elderly more than 60, 20%. Uh, General population, even young people may have it. Recently, I have a 35-year-old diabetic. He's feeling pain, feeling burning. He's going to all the neurologists. They do standard testing and they say nothing is wrong. It is obvious it is there, but there's no label to it. And until the label comes up, they don't treat. This is another funny problem. So sometimes we have to go beyond the diagnosis and we have to go beyond the labels and try to see what is the. And sometimes we just call it idiopathic. We don't know what is it. We don't know the reason of it, and we label it as idiopathic. Somebody has hypertension. I don't know why it is idiopathic. Somebody has some problem, idiopathic. It's like I'm acting as an idiot. I don't, I don't know what is it. Okay. So it does not mean there is no reason. It just we have not gone enough deeper to find the reason. Okay. So this is where a root cause investigation will help us go more deeper and figure out. Next. So typically, it's a damage or dysfunction across distinct nerve fiber populations. Okay, could be peripheral nerves, could be small nerves, could be large fiber nerves. Ultimately, either functionally the nerves is not able to produce its work or action, or there's a degeneration happening. Both ways. And sometimes it's most of the people maybe functionally it's a problem. It's like you have a car engine, but it's not able to work. It's not that structurally it is broken, damaged. And if the condition persists, then degeneration can also happen. Okay? But maybe not every case degeneration has happened. It just functionally the problem is there. Next slide. So depending on the presentation, it can be pain, tingling, burning, numbness. It could also be muscle weakness, atrophy, because ultimately the signal has to come for us to move our muscles. If we are not able to move our muscles, muscles will have atrophy. It can also be dysregulation to the BP, GI motility. A lot of people at elderly, they become constipated, and enteric nervous system, there's a neuropathy in the GI system, or could be a combination of things. Okay. Well, this is only for the presentation part. Practically, we just has to know, okay, these things are there, and something is not resolving. Constipation not resolving in an elderly man. Okay. Then you can think about some neuropathy. Next, sir. Now again, the pathophysiology. What is causing the problem? Right? Again, the main is energy failure. There's not enough energy in the nerve cell to carry its own functions. Okay, mitochondrial dysfunction reduces ATP availability for axonal maintenance. There's not enough energy is the critical thing. Or there could be chronic neuroinflammation driven by various gut thing, toxins, all of that, eventually damaging the neurons or cells. Toxicity, exogenous or endogenous. It can be lead, it can be alcohol made by fungus in the body, endogenous toxins, which can disrupt nerve membrane integrity and also signaling. And of course, the autoimmune. A lot of the problems are because of the immune dysregulation, autoimmunity. Autoimmune activation and molecular mimicry target nerve component. MS, multiple sclerosis. It's the same. Autoimmune damaging the nerves. So recently, we have been working with the patient who has been a merchant navy guy. He has been on the wheelchair since 2020. A month back, he could walk, getting after 6 years of the wheelchair, and his lead was extremely high. His lead was, it took us a year and a half to clean his lead only. Now, first we are only making it functionally better. Whatever degeneration is happening, still work pending. How to fix? I don't know how to fix that part. It is a tough organ to regenerate. But at least after a year and a half of the work of removing lead and nourishing his body, he's able to get up from a wheelchair and able to walk few steps without support. After 5 years on the, he had a slurry speech because he cannot coordinate his muscles to produce words. The slurry speech gotten better. Now he's speaking normal. Typically, MS is you wait till you die. Slowly, your nerves are degenerating, your control on your muscles is losing, and eventually you lose your breathing also and you wait to die. That is how it is being told and it is being practiced. But on the contrary, this man is able to get out of the wheelchair and slurry speech has gotten better and hopefully he'll get more better.
MS or lead induced?
It's diagnosed as MS, but lead-induced autoimmunity leading to nerve damage.
No, MS, they tell there is no treatment or
No, correct, exactly. See, psoriasis, no treatment. MS, no treatment. No treatment. We have a patient who has myasthenia gravis. Again, his lead was very high. Okay. So, this so-called non-treatable, if you dig deeper, you will find answer. Okay. So again, neuropathy. MS is neuropathy happening, and in that we have a diagnosis of MS, multiple sclerosis. Nerves are getting sclerosed. This fibrosis happening in the nerves. But then, what is triggering that inflammation is the thing. Okay. So demyelination, axonal loss, and of course the microvascular compromise. If somebody has been diabetic for a long term, hypertensive for a long term, the supply of the blood to the nerve can get bad. Okay. So these are the possible reasons, which anyways we have to do it for diabetes, which have to do for all the kind of patients we have. So we can do it for brain problems also, nerve problems also, neuropathy problems also. Next. Now, neurons are high energy demand molecules, cells, okay. Their survival depends on continuous high ATP production. So when mitochondria falters, transport collapses and degeneration begins. So because this so much energy is required, nutrients are required, repair is also required. If it's like there are these racer cars, after one round they have to change the tires because metabolically demand is heavy. Same the repair process, any organ which is so much working hard, repair has to be done. But if energy collapses, repair collapses, degeneration starts. Okay. So neurons require sustained ATP for membrane potential, synaptic transmission, axonal transport. So ATP is required. Okay. Impaired mitochondria, because the impaired oxidative phosphorylation leads to bioenergetic collapse in the distal axons. So the communication with these axons will become poor. Okay. Eventually leads to degeneration. Okay. And then we call various names. We call it dementias, things like that. Ultimately, this degeneration of the neurons in the periphery, in the brain, wherever we want to call it. Okay. Fundamentally, mitochondria is failing. So recently, I think I yesterday also told you a case. He was 30-year-old guy diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Okay. And we did the basics, and this guy is able to remember, think clearly, all of that happened. Not that he is actually degenerated. Functionally, the cells were not able to perform. You supply the nutrition, it is able to perform, and the patient don't have the same symptoms, and there's no more diagnosis of Alzheimer's. Okay. If it was Alzheimer's, it would have taken a much longer time. Next slide. So, high oxidative stress, because of the various reasons, can cause nerve damage through lipid peroxidation, this myelin damage, It could be a protein oxidation in the nerves, and of course there could be a DNA damage. Now cumulatively, damage, inflammation, and eventually progressive degeneration. Okay, thank you. So ultimately, point is, whatever wrong either we are doing or which is happening, we are degenerating, allowing ourselves to degenerate faster, and the repair processes are weaker. Okay, so we just has to allow the basics, nothing new. Okay, huh? How it is increasing? Let's say infections are increasing our body. If infections are increasing our body, these infections are making more toxins. Toxins will increase the oxidative stress. Okay. If metabolically my cells are not able to clean the nutrients from the cell, the metabolic waste from the cell, because membrane is poor, because omega-3 is not there, then oxidative waste in the cell will increase and oxidative stress will increase. Okay. Same, it's like rusting is increasing. As simple as that. Because we are not cleaning the system enough, we are not repairing the system. Just things to support it. If I'm fighting against 10 people, certainly win. Okay, so that's simple. So this is ultimately, we don't have to worry about the definitions. For us, what is practically important is oxidative stress is an important factor which can affect the neurons and the nerves. Okay. Now this is another important thing. We're discussing migraine. Migraine can be because of the high glutamate. There's more excitation happening. Even for a nerve, if there's more excitation happening, then there's more damage happening. Okay. So excess synaptic glutamate will overwhelm the NMDA receptor. Okay. Eventually leading to all the destructive pathways. Okay, we don't have to. Now, why the excess glutamate is the most important question. We can understand the mechanics, but ultimately what is causing it is more important. Triggered by chronic stress, triggered by ischemia. For example, somebody is having this breathlessness when they're sleeping. They're not able to breathe enough. Then also insomnia will increase. Migraine will increase. Okay. And eventually sometimes, calcium mediated neurotoxicity can happen because of the increased reactive. So whenever there is a damage, there is more calcification happening. Then also more damage can happen. So primary triggers again, chronic psychological and physiological stress. There are a lot of people, nowadays you see in the gym, people on the videos you see they're passing out. Now if I'm exercising beyond my capacity, what will happen? I will have to pay the price. So exercise also, if we have to do, we have to gradually increase our capacity and increase the ability to do more and more. But all of a sudden one day I want to lift deadlift of 200 kilos, then it's a problem. So sometimes physiological stress can also become a problem. If a patient is in a compromised state, let's say somebody is sick, unwell, not able to lose weight, and we say go do exercise. The person is already unwell, person is already energy state compromised, and we are saying to do exercise. That becomes counterproductive. Something we have to be careful on the clinical side. First improve the energy, then we ask them to do exercise, or have them little basic exercise, walking, things like that, then move on to a heavier exercise. And glutamate can also become heavy when hepatic or cellular detox pathways are not working. Again, the simple thing, excitation in the brain causing migraines, causing sensory issues. Lot of, let's say, a lot of people in the evenings cannot see the light. They become overwhelmed when they're under tube lights. Just because glutamate is causing more excitation in the thalamus, thereby a lot of information from the sensory organs going to the cortex, because liver is not able to detoxify those toxins which are causing the excitation. So this glutamate is very common. High glutamate is common in autism. High glutamate is common in ADHD and also common in migraines. And magnesium threonate and taurine will help balance it. And this is also common in seizures, by the way. A lot of people with seizures, their gut is a mess. But the doctor don't look at the gut, they will only give anti-seizure medications. Okay. So point is, as simple as these things, which is impaired hepatic and cellular detoxification, can increase glutamate and put anybody at a risk of seizure also, or migraine, or sleeplessness. Next sir. So, test, neurotransmitter test. Research can help. Probably your patient, we should do that test. Neurotransmitter, we can test glutamate, we can test GABA, histamine, all of that can be tested. Neurotransmitter, sir, not receptors. We can only what is floating in the blood. Yes, it is not very accurate, but it gives a good reference. So autoimmune processes can cause nerve damage, okay, through molecule mimicry, through production of autoantibodies, and of course the chronic immune activation. So a lot of people develop post-viral neuropathy. They get a viral fever, and after that they develop a neuropathy. A lot of them, this Guillain-Barré, again names got messed up. Guillain-Barré is a very, very aggressive problem. It happens after a vaccine or after a viral infection. Viral infections can trigger autoimmunity. Now, what do we get the information? Autoimmunity, viral infections has a play. Okay, and if we use high dose vitamin C, high dose N-acetylcysteine, high dose glutathione, we may be able to help to recover them because we support the body with that. Okay, so anybody coming to us with peripheral neuropathy, with the pains and all that, multiple play could be there. It is not always a diabetic neuropathy. It is one possibility. There are so many other possibilities also there. But when it comes to the support of the patient, basics remain same. We have to consider the possibilities of various possibilities. These possibilities could be there. But when it comes to actions as a practitioners, we can do still the same actions. Next, sir. Now, typically, long-term damage will lead to myelin sheath destruction. So these nerves will have a coating, just like a copper wiring has a faster conduction in the nerves. So myelin is a lipid-rich insulating sheath that enables conduction, rapid energy efficient propagation of action potentials along myelinated fibers. Now, interestingly, myelin is a lipid-rich sheath. So if we have to have good nervous system, good brain, we should take enough lipids in a diet. Okay. So anybody with low fat diet, crucially low fat diet, they will degenerate their brain faster. Okay. So this is, see, I am from Punjab. People would drink ghee, half a liter of ghee they will drink, just like that. Sir. Correct. Correct. Then we had a cardiologist in the picture, and he said, "Oh, you are eating too much ghee and milk." Of course, quality was much better, and now we don't. We started selling our milk, we started selling our ghee, and today we are diabetic capital. Just one wrong lipid kahani, and then today we are a diabetic capital or a cardiovascular capital also, just because we stopped taking, and people losing their brains because they don't eat enough fat. So again, primary causes of demyelination is autoimmunity, nutrient deficiencies, B12 is important, B1 is very important. Toxins can cause, like I said, lead is one of the problem. MS patient, demyelination is a big problem and possibly lead was the problem. Next. Another, of course, the microvascular damage. Okay. The supply to the vessel, to the nerve, through the small tiny vessels is sort of blocked. And typically diabetic vasculopathy. In diabetics, sugar keeps high, glycation in the vessels happen, flow becomes obstructed, nerves don't get enough flow, problem. Or a patient is hypertensive for a long term. Then also arteriosclerosis, arteries become rigid, supply becomes a problem. Okay. But again, if we have to fix this, we first have to fix the blood sugars. Okay. We have to fix the mitochondria in the vessel to improve the blood flow. Okay. So even though these are new terms, but actions are still the same that we have to do as practitioners. We don't have to do anything new. Next, sir. Okay. Now, again, one of the things which is damaging the nerves or the brain is neuroinflammation, and it's a consequence because of the increased TNF alpha, interleukin 6, and this is again increasing because of the gut problems. Infections in the gut lead to leaky gut, lead to increased cytokines, increased something called leaky brain. Okay, and the cascade of inflammation will start. Okay, but starting is, see, naturopathy always said any problem starts in the gut. Homeopathy says any problem starts in the gut. Even allopathy, some point they believed that it is starting in the gut, but now we don't no more believe in that. So it doesn't matter what the problem the person has come to us with, we have to improve the digestion, and consequently the damage on the organ will stop and the patient will start getting better. So chronic immune activation without adequate resolution creates self-perpetuating neuroinflammatory loop. So once the loop starts, if we don't repair it, it's keep destroying and causing more degeneration. Next one. So just to summarize, neuropathy is again a multi-system problem. Infections can be a problem that we have been discussing. Gut-brain axis disruption, which is again dysbiosis, leaky gut, is a problem. Neurotransmitter imbalance, one of them is high glutamate or dopamine dysregulation, and again gut is the starting point for that also. Heavy metals could cause neuropathy, lead is one of them, and the nutrition. Okay. Again, if we work around these things, we can safeguard these people, or we can bring them out of the state of the problem. Nothing new we have to practically do. Okay. We just have to learn how to test infections, how to test nutrients, how to test the metabolism, and accordingly make the personalized plans. Next, sir. Okay. Now, infections as root cause, viral neuropathies, bacteria sometimes can really cause something called Lyme disease. Okay, they can really mimic like a lot of the secretory disorders, schizophrenia, autism. Bacterial infections is at the play. Okay, these are all. Okay, now there's something called there's a molecule called DMT. Now DMT is called as a God particle. Okay, similar to God. So if there are certain drugs that you can take to improve DMT, and you will have out of body experience, short term. Okay, you will have hallucinations, very very vivid hallucinations. Now, Clostridia infection increases your tryptamine, and tryptamine will convert into DMT, and a patient will have hallucinations. They are hearing sounds, they're listening to somebody who's not talking. Okay. So all the secretory disorders, many of them starting with the infections in the gut. Okay. But somehow the psychiatrist doesn't really fix that problem. In fact, last week a psychiatrist has come to me with neuropathy. Okay. So I was telling him, sir, did you check your glutamate? Because that is his subject. But he was not even aware about it. So again, point is, lot of the so scary problems. So psychiatric problems are relatively very scary. Okay. But they may be starting in the gut itself. Fungal mechanism chronically, we don't really care about it, but it can be really big problem causing neuropathy. So systemic fungal infections and mycotoxin exposure produce neurotoxic effects by mitochondrial disruption and immune dysregulation, and which is often mimicking idiopathic neuropathy. When we don't know what is the reason, it could be fungal infections. One of my friend, you must have heard, is he runs a company called V Roots, Sajeev Nair in Kerala. He was having a problem tingling on the fingers, and he has been going to every doctor, and they could not even know what is the problem. So when I inquired, he said he can always sense fungal infections around. So we treated the fungal infections, tingling got better. So again, indirectly fungal infection. So when we don't know what is happening, we don't have a clear answer to the problem, do some antifungals. You may find some answer to it. Migraine, you do some antifungals, she may feel better before she get, when initially antifungals can disrupt the patient, but eventually you will feel a lot of my treatment is on antifungals. Psoriasis, 6 months antifungal, lesions will clean out, most likely. So nystatin and itraconazole. Nystatin, very safe drug, nystatin. But berberine is good, garlic is good, oregano is good. Castor oil based molecule undecalinic acid is good. Okay, so natural things are also very potent. And a good probiotic called Saccharomyces boulardii, S. boulardii, which is also antifungal. See, today my focus is to bring new thoughts to your mind. Then probably next time when we meet, I want you to pick up cases, what you are dealing with. Then we'll discuss the symptoms, we'll discuss the markers, then we'll discuss how to create a treatment plan for it. I will not bring a PPT, I will bring you to present the case, then we'll sit and discuss and frame the answers for the case. Okay.
Pick up some of the cases. Even if patient is kind of do some tests. We don't know what to do for that. Explain something but at least it should be a good case study for discussing. So if you don't bring the case studies, the whole exercise.
Correct, sir. I can.
Don't think, oh, my patient will not be able to hospital first. It's too expensive. You can take care of the cost.
If that is, such a sir is willing to pay money.
You don't want to have that roadblocks.
Correct.
So the whole exercise of what challenge today is we are all working with research.
Correct.
What he thinks she will not agree, what she thinks she will not agree.
Correct.
Everyone is, at least we need to bring it.
Correct.
So usually we need to
Correct.
be open. If she had a case discussion, she should be open to say that I don't agree with you.
Correct.
Let's look at this way. So by and large, we are doing justice to our patients. As as a doctor, if you don't do the justice,
Correct, sir.
you are wrong. So we don't have a challenge with not with the commercial aspect.
Correct, sir.
In other hospitals, how much medicines you are doing.
Correct.
Do it. I mean, you do it judiciously. For example, if you look at my team, to be very frank, 40% of us only prescribe the supplements. Other 60% of the patients we are not doing. We have everything available in-house.
Yeah.
So I don't want to blame for the reason why. I don't say that push 5,000, 10,000 like other places you have it yearly plan.
Correct, correct.
Just be frank and at least let's look at let's track how we can do it.
Yeah.
So whatever the mistake, just one start doing the other. Till now, nobody has shared CSRs with me. Nobody has shared on a case with us. So at least if someone start one case, then other people see he will be correct something. Then other things change it, and by the time next year at least same case to be. So we can select which one is correct.
See, I can bring my own patient data, but it will not make sense because you don't have the context.
Again, it will just proof it.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic. Then no involvement at all. So look at some existing cases.
Correct.
So there may be one doctor has, she may be having 5 cases to discuss. So why me? It's absolutely fine. In one person may not have a development to involve with your cases. Look at it. And we should be open. I mean, let's productively use this next
Correct, sir.
6 weeks. How can people are like,
Correct. So sometimes, we just again wrapping the same information in different packets for the openness of our mind. That's all. It's not new information. It helps us understand. My God, this stupid infection is causing so many damages in different ways. But when it comes to actions, 90% treatment plan will be same for every patient. Same diet, same lifestyle, same nutrition, same this, same that. Okay, so actions are actually very, very simple. If you look at my treatment plan from 2-year-old child of autism to 90-year-old man, same 90% the same plan, same vitamin C, same vitamin D, same carnitine, same CoQ10, because that's all that is available for me. Okay, but when I explain to the patient this is what it is doing to their body in their disease context, then their mind is more convinced. Healing starts in their mind only.
as a doctor, your actual satisfaction is the level of justice to the patients.
Correct.
I mean, you cannot evaluate them having a position,
Correct, sir.
which higher center you are working with.
Correct, sir.
You're doing justice to the patients. That's the
Correct.
And I have some people who, 30 years back, I was given with it. Even today, even somebody prescribes a medication, first he will text.
Correct.
So, still he has that amount of hope that somebody can give you the right answer.
Correct. Everybody young here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Young, energetic,
exactly.
dedicated. He just need a push.
Correct. See, healing is something that we have to burn ourselves to heal somebody. We cannot look in terms of what is in there for me as a transaction. It's simply a mean of giving. If nature wants to give us back, fine. Doesn't give us back, it's also fine. You have to go with that attitude. To plunge in yourself. Okay, what are the best you can bring on the table? And I think the lucky part is this institution has been to bring, as a doctor, you decide I want to do this for my patient. You can bring a prescription for other doctor, but you know that this is what I want to do for my patient. You bring a prescription for your colleague from other institute. and we want to produce data which is world class data. And luckily, people are paying money. There's every possibility you can. I'm telling you, we can do so much just sitting here in Bangalore. Next step. See, another thing is typically, like we yesterday also discussed, okay? End organ damage either happening with the glycation, high blood sugar is high, binding to the proteins and damaging the vessels and organs and etc. But one thing is also mitochondria is failing, which is also not into picture. Okay, so this is glycation plus insulin resistance. This is also important. It means mitochondria failing. If blood sugar is high, blood sugar is causing damage. Plus, because blood sugar consuming machinery, which is energy production machinery, which is mitochondria is consumed, then also damage is also accelerating. But conventional doctor is only looking at glycation. They're still not looking at the mitochondria. So what I'm saying is, what we will do is an advanced form of medicine. Okay, we set the tone of the health in the country. Today it's all open. They're only following the same routine. Somebody has I had an opportunity to present in PGI Chandigarh, one of the premier institute. Okay, now this guy Sardarji, big neurologist, comes up with seizure presentation. Oh, if some refractory seizure comes, I will have the brain split. I will. They do some. They divide the two lobes of the brain. I said, you have taurine, you have parasitic infections, you have to lead to look for. You're just missing the basics, and you bloody open the skull and cut it open. So because they are so rigid, they are just doing what they can and what they have been taught. But we are open, we can create newer possibilities. Next slide. So toxins, heavy metals, lead, arsenic, mercury. I'm telling you, to lot of the medical fraternity don't know how to chelate. Sometimes people bring us a prescription. Okay, somebody by chance, some doctor ended up doing some heavy metal for the patient because there was no answer to it. Somehow he said, let me test heavy metals. They don't know the right dosing of chelation also. CMC Vellore doctors give a prescription of DMSA, which is to be done 3 days in 2 weeks. That to almost maximum 200 to 300 mg per day. That is a dose of it. These buggers are giving 3 times a day for 7 days continuously. We look at the prescription because it is not available. DMSA is not available anywhere. I am getting it from South Africa for my autistic parents, and it is available on my website. So doctor just gives a prescription. Patient don't know where to buy, how to buy, how much to take. Then somehow they look on website, my website comes up, they give the prescription. I look at the website, I scratch my head. How can a doctor give such a dose of DMSA for chelator? I'm telling you, such a gap is there in the medical system, which we can fill. So far, they have been driving the medical system, but now their system is crumbling. Now we have to take it forward. Pesticides. Now sometimes a patient has been exposed to pesticides and they develop a neuropathy, as simple as a binder of charcoal. As simple a binder of a charcoal can help these patients come out of neuropathy. Okay, the pesticide is poisoning the nervous system, and their systems are failing. They don't know, doctor don't know. You give them a charcoal and they will come out of it. But we just have to have a perspective to it. We have to have right data for it. What is the profession of the person who got the problem? We got to understand that this man has been spraying in the gardens, for example, then we know this is the possibility. Or this person has been living on a field with a farmhouse with a lot of pesticides around. So history taking becomes extremely important. Sometimes, of course, now there's something called metronidazole based damage to the nerves. Okay, this is a specific term, and one of the doctor that I know is suffering from it is come for his treatment. Antibiotic, I yesterday told that it can cause damage to the mitochondria. Antibiotic induced mitochondrial damage leading to neuropathy, and people don't know what to do about it. Sometimes same remedies we can at least try to help them. Ethanol is directly neurotoxic, and it also leads to thiamine deficiency. We can test these B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B5, 6, 7, 9, 12. It's not expensive. If anything is missing, you give them, they will feel better. Otherwise, they get diagnosed with various weird name problems. Okay, you will, when you look, you will have a patient with psychiatric problems, dissociated manic diagnosis, so much weird names. It's only the diagnosis today has become a description to the problem. Diagnosis does not tell what is wrong. If we don't know what is wrong, how do we fix it? This child has sensory load. Fine, sensory load is there. What do I do with it? I need to know that thalamus is not working okay, which is causing high sensory load onto the cortex, thereby the patient is not feeling okay. And what do I do? Then I can fix it. But a name, a description, or a diagnosis is not enough. But sometimes these diagnoses can be scary. But you look deeper enough, it's funny. These diagnoses are just funny. There's no meaning to it. So I'm just trying to tell you that when a patient comes to you with a big file, with the various fancy names and fancy reports, many of them do not have meaning to it. You don't worry about that. You do what you can do and what is best you think about the patient. Next slide. So typically, low GABA and high glutamate is another big problem, which can cause a nerve damage. Okay. Now glutamate, like we discussed, can be caused by infections and toxins, and that is why a lot of time gabapentin helps. Glutamate causing excitation and nerve pain, and we give gabapentin, which is mimicking like GABA. So we can actually give gabapentin, or we can give GABA supplement also. Okay. So next step. Again, this is how dysbiosis leading to intestinal permeability, leading to endotoxin driven neuroinflammation. We'll share a slide. Same information but more detailing for our stories. If a patient comes to us with the problem, you need to tell them how it is connected, how it is, so that they trust us. Okay. I'll give the PPT to you so that you remember these terminologies. See, another important thing in the medical system is you need to look smart also. Correct. Correct, sir. It's a reality of the world. Okay. You have to use these terminologies, and some googlies are there, which may not mean anything. Same thing. But a patient will have a high regard with that. It is, we have to uplift, we have to equip ourselves with these terminology, unfortunately. There's no clinical value, but for patient mind, it is a high clinical value. Next, sir. Now, how do we repair? The nervous system is a tough organ system to repair. What is that we can do to repair now? Okay. Cellular energy restoration, structural integrity and repair, balancing the immune system, balancing the gut. Same problem. Okay. I will go into details of that. Next, sir. Now, this high oxidative stress because of the toxins and infections and all of that. How do you counterbalance that oxidative stress? This high oxidative stress is continuously damaging. One thing you want to reduce the damage, which is good, but you want damage reduction will take 3-6 months. Till then, you can bring something to balance that high oxidative stress. Lipoic acid, beautiful thing, which is there in the body, we can supplement. Glutathione, which is there in the body, we can supplement. N-acetylcysteine, which is there in the body, we can supplement. Vitamin C, vitamin E, very, very important for antioxidation. CoQ10 is so important. Okay. Anybody with nervous system problems, this your toolkit. 300 mg of lipoic acid, 500 mg of glutathione, 600 mg of NAC, 2 grams of vitamin C, okay, and a good amount of vitamin E, 100 mg to 300 mg of CoQ10. This becomes a toolkit for you. Must be done. We cannot do without this. Else another thing is patient is always impatient. They're always going from one place to another place. They will come to us. They will go. If we show them a result, they will stick to us. Well, sir, based on data, if we have the data, then we can check off few things. But ideally, for example, sir, we have almost given all of these things. Huh? Sorry? We can do. Next, sir. This is antioxidant support. There are few combinations. Yes. Correct, sir. Now, for the mitochondria, which is relevant to your diabetes, your thyroid, CoQ10 is important, PPQ is important, carnitine is very important, B2 is very important, magnesium is very important. Okay. This is to supply raw material to the mitochondria. That is but they're all overlapping effect. But for the understanding purpose, we are differentiating, but they are having similar impact. Next, sir. Now, how do we give the structural support? Let's say copper wiring, the plastic is off, the myelin sheath is off, which is a degeneration problem. How do we bring back that myelin sheath? Phospholipids, choline, very important. Phosphatidylcholine. Choline becomes the important thing. So we have given liposomal vitamin C. For sir, liposomal vitamin C has phospholipids which come from soy lecithin, which has choline also. It has vitamin C plus choline into it. Then this something called plasmalogens. Plasmalogens are specific phospholipids for the myelin sheath. I get it from New Zealand. Only 3 companies in the world making this product. Only 3 companies. One in Japan, one in New Zealand, one in US. Very uniquely placed product. Very, very potent for the brain. Very expensive. But can be very, very encouraging for the patient. Omega-3, of course. Okay. So typically we have to give 3 of them if degeneration is at a high speed. But if degeneration is not at a high speed, we can only do with omega-3. Then another milk derived lipid, which also can be in the form of supplement. Okay. So these are the toolkits that's available for us to repair regeneration. We can help a degenerating brain or nerves. Typically, see, neurologists will never work on the regeneration. I don't know why. Okay, they say, okay, now it's your age, deal with it. What can I do? You can have one standee, you can have one stool, you can have this. You prevent the fall. Typically, they are saying you prevent the fall, but they're not preventing the degeneration. We can do that. They can do that, but some reason they're not doing it. But at least let us pick up that. Let us fix the problems they're leaving. Next, sir. Then immune modulation. If inflammation is high, autoimmunity is high, how do you fix that? Curcumin, resveratrol, omega-3 again, vitamin D is important for immune regulation, autoimmunity regulation. Then something called low dose naltrexone. Now you see, we given antioxidant support to reduce the oxidative stress. We given structural support. We given mitochondrial support, and we given a immune support. Pretty much we have covered the space. But because this problem is so tough, and once degeneration happens, kicking start the repair regeneration is tough. So we have to give next step also, which is regeneration. So next. This is again the, if your glutamate is high, magnesium, glycinate, GABA, taurine, glycine, all can balance the glutamate. For migraine, these are useful things. So Hari sir, for you also, glycinate, GABA, taurine, sleep. Next sir. Now this comes a regeneration. Okay. We have used cerebral lysine, the last thing before sleep, which is a peptide. Cerebral lysine, beautiful peptide for repair and regeneration of the brain. BPC 157, beautiful peptide for repair. Okay. So you give structural support, you give antioxidation, you give mitochondria, you give immune support, and also you can give regeneration support, and your patient will get better. Cerebral lysine is approved, sir. It's easily available. Now, in your case, let's say we have these patients who come with a stroke for rehabilitation in our center. So we can do IV infusions of the, we can bring the emergency doctor who can do IV infusions of this, and patient will have a good recovery. Now, interestingly, this is such a beautiful peptide, and recommendation of this peptide is for traumatic brain injury. Okay. Now, the funny part is, if this peptide can help after trauma to the brain, this peptide can help recover the brain after trauma. This can help us solve issues very easily. But from a conventional standpoint of view, because the label says traumatic injury, I will only use after trauma. So, but you see, we also have oral form. We can give orally also. And many times, because some of these things are available on 1 mg, if you give a prescription, and these are all animal-derived molecules, 1 mg will still dispense them. They will not distinguish and all that. Okay. So you can also give your prescription on that and do it, because it's still a gray area. The regulatory is not catching up with this, but we can make use of these things and help our patients with that. And our understanding will get better, our confidence will get better, our skill set is getting better. That's all that is required to help the patient. Ultimately, we want to make the sick better. Well, sir, typically, for example, cerebral lysine, we do it for 5 days a week for 4 weeks. And then we see the results, and then if required, we repeat it after 1 or 2 months. Because brain repair is the most toughest part. But at least if we can make some recovery to live their life comfortably, is good enough. Then beyond that, if required, we can also do stem cells. Okay. Because it's a tough thing, we see, again, the point I'm saying, based on your patient, okay, based on the recovery, what you're doing, then you can decide. And internally, we can always come up to, okay, for this patient, I tried this much result came, but I need a little more. Then we can bring a way to fix the next thing also. If you don't think I can do it yourself, we can bring the external help to help your patient. Okay, but since you are the person in touch with your patient, you can only take a call for it. Until you trigger the alarm, Shetty sir will not know what is required.
Will they go to India extension?
So sir,
Extension extension.
we are doing it, sir. But recently, this stupid Supreme Court has come up with some regulation. I have been doing every month 6-7 children. A lot of work is happening. It's very safe. I did it for myself 3 times for longevity purposes. Very safe. Just like IV, you know, very, very simple. Well, sir, now market price is anything and everything. Somebody is charging 8 lakh rupees, somebody is charging 16 lakh rupees. Typically, if as an institute we have to buy the stem cells, 1000 rupees per million cells. And if somebody is 60 kilos, we need to infuse 60 million cells one shot, which means for institution cost is 60,000 rupees for one patient. That's it. And we can repeat every 3 months. Now, that same 60,000 somebody is selling for 6 lakh rupees, somebody is selling for any amount.
So once in a month, every 3 months.
We can repeat after 3 months. So typically they say one shot, the cells will work for 3 months. So then to continue the push of the repair regeneration every 3 months, every 90 days we can repeat the shot. Just take stem cells, put into saline, put a saline line, that's it. Not tough. Only if we have to do in the spine. So sometimes let's say brain degeneration is very, very aggressive. Then we have to put into spine. Then we need a neurosurgeon to put into spine. It's a simple process. But the point is, see, when I started working with autism, I only knew the food and lifestyle. Then somebody is getting better, then another layer, another layer, another. See, as a practitioner, I need to know what is required. Then you can ask for an answer solution to the problem. Why I'm exposing you to all these things? You need to start thinking beyond what you do today. What you do is fantastic, but what other layers you can add? But you can only decide for that. Well, now we know gut is a problem. In the gut, probiotics can be useful, prebiotics can be useful. Enzymes are a beautiful thing. If somebody is healthy already and we use enzymes for digestion or on empty stomach, they itself becomes an anti-aging tool. They will do a cleanup process. They will reduce debris. They will also open up the vessels. My mother is 65 years old. She was in a stressful period. She had a chest pain. We took her to the doctor. Doctor wanted to put a stent. She said, I don't want to take a stent. She refused and I have to take her back home. Next day we went to another doctor. We did a angiogram. Her blockage is only 20%. Generally at this age, 80% of the arteries are blocked. 80% blocked they call it, right? Hers was only 20% because last 2 years I've been giving her enzymes. Empty stomach. Enzymes can open up arteries. Night, morning, anytime when the stomach is empty. These are called proteolytic enzymes. They reduce debris, they reduce inflammation, they open up blood vessels. And these are the tools which are just easily available to us. Next, sir. I think we are done almost. Well, this is just a summary of it. You will have the presentation, but I think questions and thoughts.
As you said, when you first you define the business.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Where do we take it to the next level?
Correct.
Mentioned that most tools are required. Can we do something without any diagnostic tools? I'm sure a lot can be done
Correct, sir.
unless and until you have certain
Correct.
So at least we become our majority of the cases are diabetes.
Hmm. Correct. Correct.
So at least we set currently where we are.
Correct. So now,
And once we know our is see consultation happens, they come usually 15 to 20 minutes of what who's trained these individuals to know
yeah.
they're here for 7 days.
Hmm.
So one thought which we had was fine, we can have a dedicated person who does the evaluation of the gut separate, where primary physicians may not be involved.
Right.
And probably second day they can give them a certain amount of statistics. So this is where we get more question in the part. So here I think with the existing evaluation, probably you may have to add to that. You want to go ahead and do it with just
Right, sir.
speed.
Hmm.
So that can be taken up by the primary physician. So at least there is a dedicated person who focuses to start updating there. So
Right.
what is your part? Just an idea. Is it a shortcut?
I think, sir, gut is so crucial that everybody, as a practitioner, we had to develop understanding on that. That primary guy has to have the understanding on the gut. Else, again, the mismatch of the communication. This person wants to do something, and this is not aligned, and implementation becomes a challenge.
Can we ask them to do the question so that they can start more the way with itself? No, basic. If you give the basic question, we can submit it's another report. So basic, we make the basic test, let's say basic approach which we intend to do. So that we will submit. We will do the basic test. And so that once they come from the day one itself, we can work on the code. So whatever supplement given. So by the end of the cycle, you are will have a lot of experience that he has got, then that can be done. If you do like that, more precise. If he is interested to do that, you can do that, you can change his question. So that is what we are working to get the report of the 7 days. So that it may help to we can do the solutions in this that will be the first one. So all these parameter is basic parameters. We will do and we can do the things.
I just sent you a history form on the WhatsApp. Probably quickly, I will show everybody how to WhatsApp. See, I'm sharing a history form. What all system details we have to capture. We can open, sir. And I'll try to quickly help you understand how to interpret a symptom. So that if we don't have the test, what do we mean by a symptom? So indirectly, we still have information to take action. Sir. Yeah.
Open.
This one? So I'll just show you a history form. Probably we can implement that history form symptom taking form into our program so that we have more patient information what's going on. So we can track. So we can be as detailed as we want, but first is current status. What is the current diagnosis? Now diagnosis will tell you some story. Diabetes, hypertension, and based on the diagnosis you can think about what all things are wrong in the body. Okay, but a lot of people will have a diagnosis, but that diagnosis will not capture all the problem they will have. So this is about the, sometimes past history will also give you some details. Okay, they had herpes, they had whatever that gives. For example, somebody has a history of kidney stones. Now kidney stones means oxalate is high. If oxalate is high, fungal infection is there, which is making the oxalates. So that way, somebody has gallstones, low fat diet, or gallbladder is not squeezing enough. Okay, so based on that, we start thinking about what's going on. Somebody has a history of asthma, leaky gut causing high histamine, causing bronchoconstriction. Like that, you can connect the dots for your patient. Next step. And come down, sir. Go on. Go on. Now this is important. Come, sir. Here. Now somebody has excess sweating. One of the reason of excess sweating is infections. Okay, cold hand and feet. T3 can be low. Nightmares could be more glutamate excitation. Distorted vision. Okay, sometimes fungal infections cause more sensory issues. The person may not see clearly. Bruise easily. Fungal infections can cause more easy bruising on high histamine. Okay, so basically I can tell you what but and ask ChatGPT what are the possible reasons of this symptom, that symptom. Okay, now you have an extended dictionary with you. Why? So when you capture the symptoms of your patient, system wise, skin these problems, go up. From head to toe, we're looking at the head, we're looking at the eyes, we're looking at the skin, we're looking at the GI symptoms. So all of this will give you enough data, and you go back to ChatGPT and ask if my patient has these symptoms, what is the play that is happening? What is causing them these symptoms? What are the reasons of these symptoms? Then you can, a story will flow. Okay, because of this happened, because of this, that happened, because of that happened. As implementation across the different doctors, but this can be very, very, if we don't have test, this data will still give us a lot of information to make your clinical diagnosis. Like congestion in the nose, fungal infections is one major play. Teeth grinding while sleeping, parasitic infections. A lot of people even end up cracking their teeth. So much grinding they do, and it is simply a fungal infection. Sorry, parasitic infection. Then in the GI, you have rectal bleeding, Terry stools, rectal itching. Rectal itching again fungal parasitic infection. Okay. Undigested food in the stool, then you means the person needs some digestive enzymes. Gas, constipation. If you get more details, it's easy for us to take a decision. Okay. Well, this you can have this form, and I want you to think about each symptom. What is the play in each symptom? It will take some months for us to wrap our head around each of these things. But little by little bit, keep hearing more stories about patients, then you will be able to connect the dots. And then what is the preferences based on that also, we can, we can modify this form to our needs. So in case we don't have test, we can still get good answer from this form.
At least even though you can't within 7 days, you look at your basic setup in treatment. At least by the time they give, you have a long-term
Correct.
plan ready for us. At least you have done everything. You can connect and say that
Correct. Correct.
give us option B,
Correct.
option 1, option 2, and option C.
Correct. And also, let's say patient has come to with weight loss. It cannot be that only weight is a problem with the patient. It should be, but when we don't ask, they don't tell. Sometimes they don't even know what the problem they are. They're living with the problem now. But if we give them the form, they'll tell you, and for them also it becomes a verifying objective. Oh, I have so many problems. Sometimes they don't know. So
You
many.
will give them the form to fill or fill by.
No, they will fit.
They will fill all. You will be fill, like you send by.
Can ask for
What I
No sir, how to like only before form.
Google form. I can give a copy of the Google form also.
Please share us over. You can give attendance over the.
Google form.
I don't expect you can send them. But answering their questions, we will send early on the day they can ask. And then
But now we can use the second day to test in their room. They can be there from 7 days. They will be there. We can.
but ideally, you should do it before. If they don't do it, then they can use it. Both will be solved.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ನು ಮರೆಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ ಮರೆಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಅವ್ನಿಗೆ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು.
But it will be easier now. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಟಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಮುಗಿತಾರೆ ಈಗ
So then case will also show some.
I'll show. I'm just trying to.
we have an electronic card. You can incorporate this into as one form.
Correct, sir.
So once you click only what they have ticked,
It will come to us.
it will come
Correct.
easier.
Correct. This is what we do. We have a Google form. They will fill in. Then the Excel sheet will have the data. Then we will have only what is selected by them. Then we know their problems. I'll just show you one treatment plan.
When English you can use all the time.
ಝೋಹೋ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಝೋಹೋ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದರೆ ಬೇಕಂడి ಸರ್ ಜಿಂದಲ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಮೇಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ದ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದೇ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಸಿಗುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಶಾಂತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಬೇಸಿ ಹಾಂ ಅಲ್ಲ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಬಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನಾವೇ ಯಾವ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲ EHR access ಇರಲ್ಲ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್.
There is a patient portal in the You send a link, they will need mobile number as a user, mobile number as a password. They can open, they can feed all these information into the EHR, they can upload the reports, everything like used to do it in the past. But I think now Martha is actually. I know they motive for it. We also start exploring more.
Like Zoho ಬಂದ್ರೆ that link we should add is Zoho only.
But again, you need to create a link for that.
Yes.
Before you create a link, your EHR should be because where people take create EHR. There is a patient portal. Even after the discharge,
they can upload
they can still access
the patient portal. ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಗ್ರಿಗೇಟೆಡ್ ಇದೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. ನಾವು CRM ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. EHR ಅಂದರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. ನಾವು ಅದು ಮೂರಕ್ಕೂ ಲಿಂಕೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಲಿಂಕ್. ನಾವು ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಯಲಿ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹಾಂ
It can be linked, but somebody has to take the train to sit with them and get it done. ಈಗ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ
ಮಂಜುನಾಥಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೈ
See, somewhere why I want to do is the EHR which we are using. There is a lot of struggle. Doctors sometimes it's too much. Now for the physical patient, but it has such a beautiful tool which is being developed. If you really fill all the details, you can publish any number of institutes. That much amount of, but it requires somebody is taking the pain to get it organized and move. Now everybody thinks that prescribing treatment, don't go beyond that.
For example, this is an autistic child. Data is come, we give a form to the parent. Parent will fill the form, data will come in Excel sheet. My doctor will copy all the data, put into different categories manually. It is not automatically copied. Manually copy the data from Excel sheet. Overweight, dark circle under eyes. For example, liver is compromised. Okay. Sugar intolerances, fungal infection when they drink sugar.
Decide.
We try to manually make sense out of the data. We are building a software, sir. Once it's ready, I will show it to you. Maybe it will be useful. But today, my team is manually making sense out of data. Okay? Come down, sir. Based on the information that is filled by the parent. Now, aloof, a child is aloof, means always in their own world. One of the reason is infections making alcohol, for example. If somebody is on alcohol, drunk, they are aloof. Okay, autistic child, aloof because of the gut infections, but a regular doctor will say it is autism, it is like that only. Okay, indifferent, there is no emotions to the guy because the guy is high on the stuff, tryptamine, DMT, alcohol, acetaldehyde. How will the emotions will be there? Anybody who's drinking alcohol, the emotions are blunt. Okay, wiggling of the finger in front of the face, for example, one of the typical things, high histamine can cause. Looks out of the corner of the eye sensory tone. So this is not somebody taught me. Is I only figured out these answers. How to interpret the symptoms. Okay. Rocking. Child is always moving. Anxiety is there because of the high histamine. To more attention focus. Then we look at all the data. This is manually input by my team doctor. He or she reads a report, inflammatory markers, infection markers, insufficiency markers, deficiency markers, low protein markers, low glutathione markers, all blood tests.
Anything which is relevant.
Relevant. Yes. He looks at 140 markers, he picks up the relevant markers for the parent to understand. Okay? Heavy metals, aluminum is high, dehydration markers. Come down. Then we do a organic acid, fungal infection markers. This is a microbiome test. This now I said aloof means infections. Now this is verified on the test. Candida albicans, Candida brucei, two infections are there. Okay. Consequently, low glutathione and all. Now 3 months, eye contact and stimming has improved. This is the pre 3 months testing. Okay. So we have data, we have symptoms, and in between we say these are the possible reasons. Middle column, right? We say these are the possible things that are going on. Now, what is the treatment plan? Lifestyle, different document. This is only treatment plan. We still say no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, sunlight, waters. All of that is different document. Come down, sir. This is a plan for a child. Glutathione was low. We're giving glutathione. Okay. Vitamin D was low. We're giving vitamin D. There's a lot of sensory issues are there. One day magnesium, 3 days, one day taurine. Now proteins were low. We're giving protein powder. Vitamin D, mitochondria was weak. We're giving NMN B3. Vitamin D is given. Then you have parasitic behaviors and fungal infections. We give it parasitic regime plus we give it nystatin plus antibiotic. Okay. At night we are giving probiotics and a peptide omnifast, which is cerebrolysine. This is a 1 month. You see, the 9-month, you would have to get scared about this too many things. This the body needs. If we don't give the body what it needs, a child will lose the opportunity to become normal. Opportunity lost and the lifelong child. So this is 1 month plan. Come down. This is 2nd month plan. We replace the one of the anti-nystatin with allicin, which is a compound from the garlic. Because antimicrobial has to continue. Then one of the peptide is omnifast in the 1st month. Then again 2nd peptide has come brain time. Because we want to stimulate brain peptide. The rest of the things continue their ways. Next, sir.
They're comfortable with so much of supplements.
They cry, sir, but eventually, because there's no answer to it. If we don't do it, we lose the opportunity. Every 3 months. No. In terms of follow-up, 1 month, 1 call, plus WhatsApp question answer support, plus I do group question answers in a Zoom call once in 2 weeks. So my team doctor calls them once a month, plus WhatsApp support, plus I do connect on group calls on Zoom, so that their questions are addressed.
So how many times you have to take to take a case?
But if a child of 3 years and 3.5 years with the mild autism, it can take 1.5 years to fix it.
No. How much time you have to take for the consultation? See,
This consultation at least will take 40 minutes to 60 minutes.
so usually for normal patients, it is for normal patients.
30-40 minutes minimum.
So once for example, case you know, okay. So first 30 to 40 minutes you can speak. Then second, then second,
I am doing 1 month every 1 month, but that we can pick up now.
It's already direction, flow of thoughts, response. If you have treated with 5 opposites, you know that he complete us. So then becomes easy. Then your number of duration of execution.
Correct. Now there are two ways to look at it. One, if a patient is not getting better, either my treatment is not working or they're not following it. Okay. Based on experience, then we ask them, are you doing it? Are you not doing it? And somewhere we have understanding. Okay, this guy is goofing up. But again, more important is we put the blame on the patient if they're not doing it, or we make them accountable. If they're not accountable, what is that we can do? The consultation fee for autism is 20K for 3 months.
There is a one
3 months.
every year
Follow
you
up
get
is
10%. All kind of
16K, 3 months. No. Only support.
Sir, any
No,
sir,
me and my team, which is mostly dentist. Dentists, I have trained them.
sir, any case studies are there this one?
This is the case. This after 3 months.
No, sir, published case study.
No, again, I'm single practitioner. I don't have time. We have enough data. I have almost 4,000 patient data of autism.
We can summarize and we can publish.
Correct. You group is there. You ask me anything, I will share.
Let's work on those things. So let's again see the second session. So if we go fix ourselves, so let's put an action plan. What are we doing? We delegate to this. At least let us pick up one disease each. Start with. Even if you see that you're doing a diabetes test, you hand over one diabetes test. So let them start working.
One thing that I can sit with the team, understand the flow, how the patient is coming, and what are the data we are collecting, and what kind of recommendation we are going. Then I will have an idea what is being done and what more we can do easily. And then next is we have to upgrade ourselves to implement more things that we can always keep. Infection. We have to control infections only. Sugar craving, fungal infection is one plague. Parasite. Either parasite or fungal infection, which make them ask for feed. Sometimes these children know one child. She was a Muslim girl, 4 years old. She would eat 2 kilograms of cucumbers. 2 kilograms of cucumbers, and parasitic load was heavy. And she was not putting on it. So it took a long time to clean the infections, and then it got.
Since the period of the environment, we need to have see one of the diseases we get is
Sir.
we should look at having those. We need to look beyond the ceremony day.
Correct. Correct.
See, otherwise we keep them fasting. Again, in fact, we're happy that we're
first is now homework. Please have the history form and start decoding the history form. All of you independently. What is night sweat means? If somebody has urinary irritation, what it means? What is caused by? Somebody has migraine. What are the possible reasons of it? And next time I want you to represent. If you understand the core of it, then we can correlate the test. And then treatment will come. Let us decode the form. If somebody is obese, what is the place? Is gut the problem, inflammation the problem, mitochondrial problem? What is the place? Let us explore as deep and possible we can go. Then the solutioning becomes easy. And then you will also have interest to follow up them while they are home, to chase them. Sometimes if a patient doesn't follow up with us, no, we become little this thing. We have put so much effort to make them better. Now they're not doing it. You know, why are not they? We pushed them hard. Becomes our responsibility and our, you know, this is what we live for, right? A child is not speaking, one day they start speaking. It's a thing for us, okay, something is working. So we have to start looking outcomes as one of the gratitude for us. Well, fine, don't worry, overwhelming, too much information, but it's same basics, nothing new. Just to stimulate, that's all. Any questions? You ask, I will, you ask, just use the book, you ask me what you need, I will keep sharing.
These things are shared.
Can somebody can keep all these things? Right. Not just keep only the
WhatsApp.
the last one. Make a separate. This is where
Hi, today, Monica, sir.
ಸರ್ ಒಂದು ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಾ
ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು